Man, you YouTube viewers really like Total Drama, huh? Welcome, Ultra, Switchy sisters, and Danonites alike to episode 56 of the weekly episodic gaming-adjacent livestream podcast show. This is Switch to Ultra, the first episode in the summer. And there's a lot of video game-adjacent stuff to talk about this week, but something more pertinent has hit the internet. I'm your co-parent, BHultra.
And I'm your co-parent, Switchy.
And I'm your Funkle Dan.
And, well, what's going on with these Total Drama leaks? What's happening?
Okay, so, all right. Yesterday at like 7 a.m., one of my friends texted me. He's like, dude, did you hear about this crazy leak?
Log on. It doesn't matter what website.
Yeah, no, literally. Well, I mean, for someone like me, yeah, basically. He sends me a link, and it says it's like all the a bunch of files from Total Drama. And I at this point, I'm lazy as fuck. I'm in my bed. I'm like, okay, well, but eventually I do download it, and at least the file that I got to has a good amount of stuff, but there's even more. So that's I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So basically, what it basically was, at least at first, because I think whoever's leaking all this shit is sort of kind of staggering it a little bit. But at first, it was basically all of the basic rigs for the reboot characters, along with the flash files for all of the later seasons of Total Drama. And basically that includes, or at least the intros. So that includes Redonkulous Race, Pacateo Island, All Stars, Dramarama in the reboot. But only more and more has been coming out. And I think there's more files than what was than like what the link I was sent had, because my friend Timus, I guess you could call him a friend of the show. He's the guy that animated some of the sections for my most recent video, or my most recent Total Drama video. He texted me a little bit later, and he sent me a video of him of like an elimination from the reboot, or actually an introduction of one of the characters for the reboot, but instead of being one of the characters, it was Tung 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 Sahur.
I did see that.
His edit. So yeah, so that was kind of how I found out, a lot of this shit was leaked. And he kind of gave me the rundown, and he's not responsible for the leaks. Maybe I shouldn't say this. He kind of gave me the impression that he might.
Oh, did they get him? Did they get to him?
I think they got him.
Holy shit, they got him in real time. That's nuts.
Oh no.
Okay, so to my understanding from this, they got specifically the source files, like the animated source files. And I am by no means no expert, but how fortuitous that earlier this year, for a video on the main channel, I wanted to teach myself. I don't know if it's always called Macromedia Flash, or if that's just what the original version of Flash was called. I wanted to teach myself Adobe Animate, which is what they call it now, since they removed Flash from everything. But it is still the current day. Adobe Animate is built on the infrastructure of Adobe Flash. It's ostensibly the same thing with a different name, and all of the files I've seen people going into, you can tell that it is Adobe Animate because of the timeline on the bottom. And what's really specific about Total Drama has been accused on occasion of looking relatively cheap compared to other shows, and that is true. It's a show that is fully animated based on rigs and rigging. So the source files leaking out is actually something more akin to like a video game source files leaking out than any other cartoon, because if like storyboards for a cartoon leaked out, you can replicate those boards, but it really just is different in the process altogether. Man, they really did get him. That's nuts. He was speaking too much. That because Total Drama works off of hyper-specific rigs, that they just... I don't want to downplay the actual animation effort that goes into these shows, but you already have preset poses for all of these characters. So the source files for the rigs for these characters leaking out is such a big deal, because now you have access. Anyone has access to these rigs and to these source files. On top of that, half of the stuff I've seen are legitimate leaks from the most recent seasons, the reboot season, and then the later of the original run of Total Drama. The other half of which is definitely fake leaks made by people because, like, listen, the reason we started this show is sort of an amalgamation, or rather a continuation of talking about Smash Bros. Speculation. If you thought those leaks were easy to reproduce, now it was already really easy to replicate the Total Drama art style, and you see it a lot, especially with the anecdote I use, and I haven't actually met this person, but I think I might in the summer, so I want to squash any potential beef. Is there was Nikki Carrion did a bunch of videos earlier this year about Shane Dawson, like a big retrospective about his career, and wrongly assumed that there was a fan-made cartoon that put one of Shane Dawson's characters in a Total Drama cartoon. And not only are fan-made Total Drama shows incredibly dissimilar to the actual Total Drama program, it's overtaken the wikis as well, that there's an abundance of fan wikis that will just list all of these fan-made projects as fact. So I can't even blame her for assuming that, like, this Shane Dawson character was actually written into the show, although it would require only a little bit of additional research, because if you're just checking the fandom wikis, it fucking says that. It says, like, oh yeah, this fan-made thing is definitely canon. So I would say that half of the stuff we've seen are legitimate leaks from these source files, and half of the stuff we've seen are easily replicatable leaks.
Okay, so like most of the stuff you've probably seen that's like out there is probably fake. So for example, one of the things that I saw that I think was a joke is there's like an alleged deleted scene of Pacateo Island where Rodney falls in love with Max. I assume that's fake.
I love that scene.
Yeah, that's fake.
It was, you said
the
non-binary,
right? the non-binary, like the non-binary clip. I think that was real.
Yeah.
No, Terry even commented on that. That was
he
real.
commented on that. There's also another
you can tell which ones are real if they sound like shit because they were all rendered in a very specific file.
That's not a dead ringer because the way it's rendered is like the way a lot of the reason they kind of sound like shit to my understanding is because they're compiled or they're kind of like loaded into a shockwave flash file, which is kind of like the original way that flash games used to run. It's the same technology. So an easy like quick export function you can do, or a quick kind of like preview method you can do in Adobe Animate is you can kind of like just I guess export something as a shockwave flash file, kind of watch it real quick. I was actually doing that when I edited Anthony Fantano into the Total Drama All-Star. I don't know if you guys saw that. But like so it kind of had the same kind of like compressed shitty audio. So that's not actually a dead ringer because if someone goes into the shockwave, the flash files and kind of mangles shit around, they can export it like that and it can be totally legit.
Right.
So another example, like my friend Timus, he's the one that did MK and Julia kissing.
Yeah.
That was fake.
I remember that one.
Well, the thing about that is, like, that's not even portrayed as real. I've seen a lot of people say, like, oh my god, they created this fake leak. If you just do an additional bit of reading and scroll down one time, it says fan animation by me. You would be surprised by how few people read the descriptions of, like, any video. So much discourse could be solved by just doing a little bit of more reading.
Well, that's the big, and to be fair, I think a lot of people, like, they might see a quick clip of, like, I don't know, like Julia saying that she's gay for MK or whatever, and like all the comments are like, oh my god, Julia gay or MK Julia canon, and they're kind of saying that playfully, but it's so easy to, like, if you don't know the fandom, you don't know what people talk about and complain about, like, it could be very easy to just kind of fall for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
well, especially like the Beth and All Stars thing is that, like, that seems completely innocuous if you're outside of the fandom. It's like, oh, I guess there's another Total Drama character in this Total Drama season. But under the context, that is one of the main things people complain about All Stars. I mean, there's a lot to complain about All Stars, but that's like there's not a thick enough cast of the retro cast.
And that's actually another thing that's also really interesting because there's a lot of fan rumors about characters that were allegedly included in All Stars. Another friend of mine, another kind of like person who talks about Total Drama as well, he was kind of posting about, I think, certain files, certain rigs of non-contestants or characters that weren't in the All Stars season, like, but their rigs were still found in certain files. I don't actually think that's a smoking gun for anything because, I mean, I don't know, like you guys have made big YouTube videos before. Often you'll like use files in your projects that are like in fucked up ass places.
Yeah,
like
and
some
if we
foo-foo
are
ass,
comparing it to something akin to video games, like, you know, if that is the bridging factor of this show, of both Smash Bros. And Total Drama, is that we know that there are characters like Cloud and Bayonetta that were built off of Zero Suit Samus and Ike. And, you know, not to discredit the character designers
That's
on Total
true.
Drama, but a lot of the body types are incredibly similar, so I wouldn't put
Though
it
for
past
All Stars,
them
I
to,
don't
like,
know how much that's it, but I think in principle you're right, because one of the other things that was kind of funny is that apparently one of the most common characters they use as like an art style scale, or like kind of like a size scale, is like the Camp TV model of Trent with the Smiths t-shirt.
Yeah, the Smiths. I did see that.
So like, yeah, I mean, I think. I always push back against, you know, the conspiracy theories that All Stars was originally meant to be like 26 episodes and have like all these extra characters. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like certain shit on the drawing board, but I think like once there was like a meaningful commission for All Stars, like they had to decide on the 14 characters pretty quickly. Like,
Yeah, I mean, well,
I've
that's,
never
like,
really
where
believed.
where do you draw the line at like intended? It's like, okay, well, like,
Yeah.
was that the rough idea they had? Like, to what degree was this
Exactly.
actually intended?
Like, I mean, I mean, to be fair, I kind of go back and forth on the Sam Owen thing, because that is something that's always been sort of weird to me. I wouldn't be surprised if like maybe they had like a lot of the ideas and they just kind of swapped swapped Owen out for some reason. But I definitely don't believe that like Bridget and Blanley and shit were gonna be in All Stars. Like,
Yeah.
if they were, maybe as
Blanley
like
was gonna be in
cameos or
All-Stars.
something.
Also,
You know, 'cause-
if 3 of the All Stars were Alejandro, Sierra, and Blanley, that's egregious. Like, that's like a large
no,
percent
literally.
of the classic cast.
That's honestly like the fact that Sierra and Alejandro, like, I guess they both did well, but yeah, they shouldn't be an All-Star. At least Alejandro, I think, should be an All-Star. Sierra shouldn't have been. But like, so because of all this, I mean, for what it's worth, like, this is really fun. And there's like a lot of funny anecdotes I'm gonna say, you know, in the next half hour.
Yeah.
But you guys are right, and I am confident in saying, like, oh wow, rumors about this show are about to like go to shit, because like, you know, you can make up so much shit now.
Yeah, it
and
was
like
already
you
really
can
easy, and now we have the actual source file of these characters. Like,
you can animate them running. You have
Right.
you all have all the mouths and stuff. Like, it's so funny because, you know, I've worked with animators who replicate the style before. Shallot Hair specifically, he, as far as I know, he recreated everything from scratch, and he didn't have to. I think he just did that because I think it's a little easier for him. He likes doing it. I'm not sure. But the other guy I work with, Timus, he worked with all the stuff that already existed. So a lot, like, the original characters' rigs have always been around. So like, at least I think the original rips of them came from Flash files for the actual Flash games from, you know, the late 2000s.
Nice.
But now we have Flash files for all the Pacateo characters, all the fucking like Redonkulous race characters, as far as I know. And so the reboot too, I think. So now there's just so much shit. And yeah, is it like, it's really easy to sneak Beth into the All Stars like campfire,
it
you
is
know?
very literally copying and pasting.
Yeah, and you know, I don't want to discredit, because I've already seen like a few small fan animations done by people who are using the existing assets, and you know, you are seeing like a lot of cool expression there, and I'm excited, you know, in some ways. I'm excited for my own videos because, you know, like, on some level I want to do Redonkulous Race at some point in some form, and now that we can probably like get all the fucking rigs and assets from that season, like, oh holy shit, like, now a bunch of things that used to be really hard for me have become really fucking easy.
If these leaks go far enough back, we may finally get an HD conversion of Total Drama World Tour just by
we already
recreating the file.
we already have
that.
HD World Tour.
We got that.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
do.
I
The
think
only
there's a
problem with
Roku
HD World Tour is I think it was exported a little fast. I don't know. I think it's like some European shit, because technically, like, I think Europeans, they go at like a slightly different frame rate than us, at least TV. So because of that, that's also why I think Revenge of the Island is weirdly high pitched. I'm not totally sure. I mean, I think I've just heard that somewhere. But yeah, everything in like World Tour HD is like half a cent sharp of what it should be. So Chris sounds higher, everyone sounds higher. There's like even small things like, and I was talking about this with someone, because a lot of them are like fully produced. like way more
Yeah.
produced than I thought they would be. And that kind
Yeah.
of surprised me because I assumed like I don't know. I mean, I've never made like a 22-minute TV show episode that has to be within a certain time frame. But at least from my own experiences with YouTube, like I could usually ballpark how long a video is going to be. Like after I've recorded the audio. Not always, depends on what specifically I'm doing, but I'm surprised they got far enough to like fully animate as much stuff as they did just to take it out for the final upload. But you know, there's a lot of cool stuff. There's like some insight on, you know, certain eliminations in the reboot. There's like extra lines like Millie asking where the non-binary contestants are going to sleep.
There's so many like little things, and I don't want to be just like, oh, this thing better than the thing we got. But like, I do like the leaks we've seen way more than the actual seasons themselves. Like individual characters that I didn't care much for seem a lot more charming. Yeah, especially like the little. I don't even know what you would call them, the splash screens that they all have, because they do that a lot in the leaks where they all
I do
have
like that. I do like the we're calling it the matching profile picture screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're like Mock'em Rhodes shit. Like,
yeah,
I know what
had
you're talking
renders of the original cast on those same backgrounds, and I'm like, oh, cool. It's kind of an allusion to that, especially the clip I keep seeing over and over, and it's a clip I really love, is the one of Emma listing off the order in which the team goes, and when she goes to her, that it just forms a square around her head and has the same background. I think that's really
I like that. That was cute.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say my biggest gripe, maybe that's an oversimplification, but like the bit I was saying as I was going through the series, like on my own channel, I'm like, why does Chef act like this? Why does he look like this? I don't understand. And now we know that, like, allegedly he was supposed to be... It says within the leaks that he was supposed to be, like, an executive producer, and then they just didn't include that scene at all.
It's interesting. Terry McGurin said he didn't like that scene, and I don't want to diss Terry McGurin too much. I don't know where he's coming from. He said like Chris was too mean in that scene, but like, bro,
that's
like,
a crazy thing to say.
I know.
I mean, on some level, I was also saying like it's kind of good that like there are people who work on Total Drama now. Or, I mean, Terry's always been kind of part of the family, but like,
yeah,
I'm glad that there's like there's like he's pretty much the only like guy who produces the show, like is one of the bigwigs who really kind of interacts with the fans.
Yeah.
I imagine that drives him a little crazy, though. I'm kind of happy that, you know, they're being good sports about the leaks. I was worried that, you know, maybe people get trying to shut down, but I think altogether this is probably better for the show than it is, you know,
well,
like
I imagine
a bad thing.
It brought it back into like the limelight. That's all I've been seeing on the feed. Like,
yeah, well, that also
doing a lot of heavy lifting.
It's source file leaks, and then maybe we could put together a story of like what happened, because I imagine the reboot seasons, more so than any season that came before them, involved a lot of like specific corporate meddling, because they didn't purposefully sabotage the reboot, but like its release order and the way that people were able to see it was like it didn't do a great service to the reboot seasons. So I don't think that he has a vendetta or is like, you know, upset with the company at all. But, you know, I would imagine that there's a side to the story that might be able to be told that the people who were actually there can't legally tell, that it might like shine light on a couple grievances from that era.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting, I mean, and this, you know, like this is kind of a political subject in some sense, but, you know, it's interesting, like, well, I'm writing about this because I'm writing a video on 16 right now, and 16 is another fresh TV show, and 16 specifically has a lot of gay jokes, first of all, and it also has like straightforward like gay representation. Like there's that like the only episode that was banned from season 4, because by that point they were making the show with both Cartoon Network and Teletoon in mind, was the episode where there's like a character who's canonically lesbian. She says she's a lesbian. And if you guys know Steven Universe, you guys know that like it was kind of hard. It was very hard in the 2010s to say anything like really approach the topic of homosexuality.
It arguably still is.
It arguably still is. And I think what's interesting, I mean, you can argue why certain scenes from the reboot were cut out one way or the other. Like, you could, I mean, for example, because there's like Millie bringing up, you know, potentially non-binary contestants. And there's also like Bowie saying like, oh, the first openly gay contestant. And that knows that we know that's really overdue. Like there's kind of little bits like that that weren't included. And I guess it's interesting to kind of see like the teetering behind the scenes. I mean, I could see them not wanting to include that little Bowie bit, just to kind of play nice with both like the network and potential shitheads. You know what I mean? Because like, I mean, if a character brings up non-binary in a kids show, like that brings, you know, there's a significant portion of viewers who push back against that and get kind of pissed off.
Yeah,
and
but they're gonna react
sometimes
that
the
way
publicity
anyway,
isn't
just
worth
because they
it.
have a gay character. Like people who don't actually watch the program.
That's another point, because it's like, oh, I was fine with Total Drama having a gay character who kisses another guy on the screen, but once they brought up non-bi, it's like, on some level that is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I guess it is insight into like what they kind of take and what they leave. I assume a lot of it is just because, you know, the episodes have to be a certain length. They only have 13 episodes because, you know, that one you brought up about like them deciding the team order, like I could imagine that was on the cutting room floor just because, you know, they need 22 minutes. It wasn't deemed like super essential to the plot. And, you know, frankly, to a fault, in my opinion, a lot of the newer the total drama reboot, along with All Stars and Pacateo and Revenge of the Island, it's no frills. It's just like everything has to be essential for the plot of the episode. That's the only stuff that ever really kind of makes it through. Because they only have so much time to work with. And I think, and I've always said, I feel like the show kind of suffers because of that.
Yeah.
But, and I feel like I was watching that scene where they kind of decide the plot. I'm like, oh, wow, these characters are adorable. I love these characters.
Yeah, like, you actually get to understand them a little bit more. I have been, for my own video, you know, we're coming up on July, so I'm working on something. Doing my yearly revisit of Total Drama Island again. That it's kind of magical that I'm able to discover new things about it every time. And there's a number of stuff like that where, like, when I was, I guess, like a teenager and I was still watching the show, I would, upon rewatch of like Island, start with the merge and then work onward, because, you know, I was watching like total Pokemon Island and doing my own fan-made stuff that, you know, it's still kind of kid-brained. The stuff that was important to me were the challenges and the eliminations. That's what I cared about. And that is what the show veers more towards later as it goes on. It becomes an all-encompassing competition. But a lot of Total Drama Island specifically, the challenges themselves are really secondary, and it has so much time to breathe with these characters. And that's honestly where it shines, like, early on.
That's why it's my favorite season.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that for sure.
And it's so funny because the show specifically, I'll be totally honest, and actually, dude, it's funny that we're talking about this because I kind of talk about this in this upcoming video. I'm recording the script now. There's a lot of parallels between, because I only just kind of started watching 16. Like I'm new to the whole 16 train, and what's so interesting about it is that you kind of see, like, this is how Tom McGillis and Jennifer Perch write a TV show when there isn't any like Cartoon Network kind of in the way, when it's really just a Canadian show for a Canadian audience. Yeah. You kind of see it's basically like, so there's things you have in Total Drama Island that you have less of in every following season. Yeah. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. And those things that Total Drama Island has, you have even more of it in 16, because 16 is also just, you know, a slice of life comedy. There's a lot of those elements that influenced Total Drama Island that kind of got shaken off later on.
Well,
I think just as like
early season episodes of 16 that just did not air on the Cartoon Network. Just
a
because
fourth
of
all
matter.
Episodes were banned.
Yeah,
a fourth. And what's actually, it's funny, I also say this in the script, there are episodes that weren't banned that surprised me. Like the period episode is banned, but the episode where like Jude and Jonesy kiss like on the lips, that's not banned. I was so surprised by that.
It's played as a hilarious
I mean,
gag.
they had the episode where Noah and Cody kissed. I mean, that's a thing.
I guess that might be part of it because you don't see the lip contact, so you can argue like maybe it's just a cheek kiss. But I think like the lip kissing thing is like sort of.
I thought he was like it was tastefully sort of nibbling on his ear, very intimately. Well, like you mentioned it too, like the dichotomy of having representation and also gay jokes is that there's a lot of jokes specifically in Total Drama Island that veer more into the satirical nature of the show and the absurdism of it, where a lot of stuff later on, I get the feeling that they didn't think it was going to be as big of a thing as it was, so that everything was like very strictly canon, is there are jokes that you can get away with that's like, oh, this person is saying this to this other person. But even if it is a joke, if you have a character act a certain way, that is the way they are acting, that is the way they are feeling. So in season 1, and arguably onward in the show, when they have this reoccurring joke of Owen being attracted to guys, specifically Justin, it is played for a joke, but because it is never questioned in his character, it is something he is actively doing. That is just a canon part of his character. Like, it's not meant to be an absurd bit that's like, oh, that was weird, I don't know what just happened. It's played for a joke, but because of the way the fandom reacts to it and just, like, the specific people that the show attracts, that just is kind of grandfathered into representation, because if you're not viewing it as a joke, it's like, oh, yeah, Owen's bi. Because that's what's happening in the scene.
Like, that's an interesting part of, like, there's and I don't know. I mean, like this can often be a dicey subject, but I will say, like, because I think characters like Owen, canonically are infatuated with Justin.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's like you have to ask yourself, like, is this supposed to be a bisexual character? And I guess you could argue yes, but it doesn't feel the same as like a character who. Because I think the only way his bisexuality is really explored is for humor. Yes. You know, he kisses like Duncan and Jeff on the cheek, and they're like, "What the fuck?" Or he says he doesn't want to sleep near. He likes sleeping near guys.
Yeah,
and everyone's like, "What the fuck?"
Near them.
And it's like it's you know, I mean, I always want to say when I talk about this that I don't want to like say it like criticize Fresh TV for the way they approach this, because like. I don't know. I mean, the show was made by Tom McGillis. Tom McGillis is an openly gay man. And I think he really likes this kind of humor, the sort of like, bro, I'm not gay. Because they do that all the time in 16, too.
Yeah.
There's so many jokes about Jonesy kind of like finding Jude and like drag attractive.
Yeah. Well, like,
or like being like.
It's not exactly the same thing, but like if you have a lot of gay people or trans people, just queer people in general in your life, nobody says more insulting things or more slurs for those community than the people in the community.
Yeah.
And like it's sort of, it doesn't make you uncomfortable, but it's more like, I don't know if I can laugh at this.
Yeah, the reason I want to make that clear is because I think there's an interesting discussion to be had about how, you know, especially in the 2000s, shows would approach homosexuality, but only in kind of like a humorous way.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like 10 years later, at least in America, where that kind like the guardrails kind of loosened and you were actually able to say gay on TV. You know what I mean? Because like I think I don't know if you guys remember, but I think it was in 2012, maybe 2013, 2014, the show Good Luck Charlie kind of made the news circuit because it was like the first Disney Channel show to like have a gay couple in the show and call it a gay couple.
I remember that.
You know what I mean?
And like I watched the Key and Carlisle video, so yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So like I remember when that was making the rounds, and you know, I mean, kind of an interesting story. You know, I think it was a big change, and even for the following years, I mean, I think. You know, it was a battle in a lot of ways because, you know, Rebecca Sugar has talked about how there was always sort of a devil's advocate kind of pushing back against queer representation in cartoons on Cartoon Network. Yeah. And
the stance being that, like, listen, we don't care about it, but, you know, other people might.
Yeah, so it's very much like sort of a desire to avoid controversy or avoid like losing, you know, I guess losing audience members or stuff like that.
That's how my mom talks whenever I wear a skirt. She's like, listen, you know, I don't care, but, you know, other people, they might be.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you can, I don't know. I mean, especially with these reboot leaks, you can kind of still see like, oh yeah, that's still there because I think, you know, there's like they can say Bowie and Raj are gay. There's no real issue with that. Mm-hmm. But, you know, there's still like a way you say it that I think there's still like kind of that sort of skepticism. It's like, oh, maybe you shouldn't make Bowie say that. Maybe you shouldn't imply that you should have had a gay character earlier.
Well, Bowie's actually, you know, really Bowie within these leaks too is that like it seems a lot of the stuff they cut out was him being very cunning and like underhanded, and I understand why you don't want to run with that stereotype, but he is clearly a villain in that first season, and it makes it even more confusing that in season 2 everyone hates him, but like he didn't
like way more than they should.
He wasn't that bad in season 1, yeah.
Because like episode 1, he got Caleb eliminated, and then the next thing he does that's like underhanded is the thing with MK's phone, and that's not till like the final 5. And I'm just thinking like, he doesn't really do anything this season. Like he kind of puts Millie and Priya against each other, but at the same time, that's mostly Millie's fault.
And there was a reboot clip that implied that he was kind of like tricking Nichelle, kind of encouraging her to sort of bring out the worst in herself. And they kind of took that out. I guess it's because, like, Nichelle being eliminated. I think the way they thought about it is that Nichelle was going to be eliminated that episode no matter what, because I
don't think that the elimination
she fucked up the challenge
changed at all. Like people are like
placing
not. The leaks together, like, oh, maybe this was different, but it's very clear that they had that plan.
100% not, because I think they have the elimination order and shit, I'm sure, ready before they storyboard the show, and they storyboarded everything. Like, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, no, they're not animating the full show and then swapping things around like that, because there's just like I don't think cartoons are produced that way. That's like
back to fan theories. The way people talk about Total Drama Island, you'd have it believed that like they're placing the track in front of them as the train is going. And another thing,
you'd have them say like some South Park shit, basically. Like they make the
this
episode
needs to
every
go
week.
Up on Teletoon next week. We have to do something.
Where's Lindsay's voice actress?
Well, that's the thing. That's another thing I discovered upon going back, is that, like, this show has been talked about to death by a trio sitting on this show right now. That, like, going back to it, sometimes there are very specific little things that I'm like, oh, I don't think that's actually really interesting. I don't know if anyone's ever pointed this out, and I don't want to give away too much of what I have to say, but going back and, like, watching the first half of Island, like, just season 1, Lashana actually doesn't talk that much. There are episodes, like, in a row where she doesn't say anything.
That's very common in Island in general, not just with Lashana, with a lot of characters.
But there are episodes where she's the only one who doesn't speak. So, like, when you get towards the end, like, from basically, she doesn't say anything in the Awake-a-thon. They have a reused, like, a scream where she's, like, celebrating. Then she doesn't say anything.
They kind of use those, like, separately and make that stuff separately.
Yeah, basically from, like, the first episode to the living in the forest episode, she doesn't really say anything. She doesn't say anything during the talent show either, and they don't even have like a bit to be like, oh yeah, and her talent is this thing. Like, she just doesn't factor in. And this is something I didn't notice either. They have I feel like I'm giving away the fucking video, but nobody watches the streams, we're good. there's a moment in Phobia Factor, the story at the end is that, like, oh, everyone said their fear except for Courtney, and we went through these cameras to find out that she was actually afraid of green jelly. She just didn't say it out loud. But Lashana also doesn't say her fear. Neither does Gwen list it off, and she's other than Courtney, the only one. And it's so like, a lot of characters bleed into the background early on, specifically Lashana.
So Gwen says her fear.
Huh?
Gwen's afraid of being buried alive. She doesn't say that at the camera.
No, I'm saying there's a section where Gwen lists off all the fears that weren't said by the characters. Like, we cut to a confessional and Gwen's like, oh yeah, Harold's afraid of ninjas and Heather's afraid of sumo wrestlers. I'm saying that,
what was her fear again?
Who? Lashana?
Yeah,
that's the fucking thing. Is they say Beth is afraid of bugs, and then they put her in a pool full of worms, which isn't bugs. And then Lashana's fear is Chef dressed up like a giant spider, which is, I know that's an arachnid, but that's closer to bugs.
That's her fear. Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, she gets
so Lashana's fear is in the episode. Then.
Yeah, but she doesn't. What I'm saying is that, like, when they're around the campfire, a bunch of campers say their fears out loud, and then the ones who don't, Gwen is in a confessional, and she's like, then everyone went on and on.
Yeah, I remember that.
But she doesn't list off Lashana, so Lashana and Courtney's are the only ones that don't get listed, but Courtney's factors into the story. So, like, once you get to the end and the stuff happens to Lashana, it's like, okay, It seems like later on into the show they lent more into Lashana, but I don't know what production order was happening in which order, but I get the feeling that the voice actress wasn't around for a lot of episodes, not just that specific
Justin
one.
famously didn't speak. There's also another example. I'm glad you brought that up because I'm glad you brought up the dodgeball episode, and I can't think of any concrete example. But I'm not there. There is a lot of characters in that episode who are like on the stage, who are on the screen, throw dodgeballs and kind of do things in the dodgeball game, but they don't say anything.
That's why people
there's at
ship
least, like,
Katie
probably,
and
like-
DJ because they stood next to each other.
But actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I think one other interesting thing about Total Drama Island specifically is some characters just don't really have an arc, really. Like, I mean, one thing people complain about a lot is DJ's arc in season 3, and I think some people find the animal thing kind of stupid.
I'm people.
Yeah, so people like Dan will make their stupid art. No, I was kidding. So it's a thing that gets a lot of criticism. A lot of people say that he got Flanderized in season 2. Maybe on some level that's true, but there's like a lot of episodes in season 1 where DJ doesn't do anything. Like
Yes.
and this is coming from someone who I like DJ. I think he fills out the cast really well. He's I honestly really love when Jeff and Duncan kind of have that friendship thing going. But a lot of those, and it's fun to watch. But like a lot of the times, Jeff and Duncan Jeff and DJ don't say shit. Like they're just kind of like Duncan's boys, basically.
For the first half, nobody on the Killer Bass is
at least
friends,
Jeff,
except for Katie and Sadie.
Like the Killer Bass
with Bridget going on. So like that.
And Jeff's arc specifically, like, I mean, Jeff is in some ways a side character, because like there's so many episodes where it's still so, he likes Bridget likes him. They kind of allude to that every few episodes, but then they just eventually start dating, and then Bridget gets voted out, Jeff gets punished. But it's like, when you compare that sort of like that sort of arc kind of development to like, season 5, where every single character has like a specific thing that happens to them, a thing that goes on with them that is explored every single episode or almost every single episode. It's very different. Jeff and DJ, a lot of the Killer Bass have much more underexplored or like backseat kind of arcs in that season. And I think it's like, because Action and the seasons past that put a more concerted effort into giving those characters like distinct moments, distinct speaking moments and stuff like that. That's where like the ridiculous shit that happens in World Tour kind of happens.
Yeah.
Same with and I don't know. It's like I mean, a lot of people
Action
don't.
seems a little bit more planned out. Aside from all the Izzy stuff.
No, definitely. And that's the thing is that despite Island being my favorite season, it's probably the most, like, in terms of the competition, it's the most carelessly written.
Yeah.
And I don't say that to like diss it. I mean, at the end of the day, like I still think it's probably the most fun to watch, the most like emotionally fulfilling to watch.
100%.
But like, yeah, I mean, they did not give a fuck about who voted for whom when they were writing Island.
I think
the ones like even the Izzy theory is like, okay.
She explains herself. At least there's like an explanation.
Yeah.
Like there's something that happens. Like, and then you look at something like fucking
But also, even outside of her
it?
plan, it fringes on Cody voting for Heather, which I don't think he would. I feel like he would definitely vote for Trent in that situation.
Yeah, you're probably right. Also, I think one of the most egregious, in my opinion, is Jeff's elimination. Because Jeff, like in some,
what are you fucking talking about?
Yeah,
What are you
everyone
fucking
hates
talking-
Jeff.
That's ridiculous.
Dude,
Everyone
did you
hates
hear?
Jeff.
Everyone hates Jeff now.
Well, because the thing
I
is,
also
like,
think the
Sorry, you can
the
talk, you
DJ
can talk.
one kind of sucks because they never make it explicitly clear if there was a vote or not.
I always thought there was a vote, but I guess
There's
there
like
isn't. I think it's
3
just like he just got.
episodes in a row where the elimination is just complete and utter bullshit, and from like 10 to 8 is when it happens.
Yeah, that.
Well,
that
Jeff was
sucks
6.
a lot.
But yeah, like Jeff specifically, like, and as I said, Jeff really doesn't like the only struggle Jeff really had that I think was very explored in Total Drama Island was him like humiliating himself for Bridget. And other than that, like he likes Bridget. He kind of didn't vote to kick her out, even though like he promised to. It's not very like expressed, but eventually they're like, oh, I guess we need to eliminate Jeff somehow. He's a nice guy. Everyone likes him. I guess.
like what this is understated, but what happened with the Izzy vote? Like the second Izzy vote. Why did everyone vote for Izzy? Like that was the first
Heather did something
Heather
basically.
Like Heather and Duncan vote for her. Yeah, I don't know. I could understand Lashana voting for her considering the torture she put her through most of the series. But yeah, there's a lot of episodes where it's like, oh, Heather did something. She put her spell on them, and then they all vote the same way. But this is why also there are...
It's all a nightmare.
You know, we've had fill-in theories, fan theories, to fill in the gaps that we do not see of stuff that happens off screen. I don't think that these leaked source files will ever go as far back as that, but it would be interesting to see if there are any specific deleted scenes from the early seasons that would contextualize stuff a little different. And because I think that that's what's missing from early seasons is a lot of context for specific decisions and specific things. And now... Obviously, it makes sense from a TV show production season, but like now that we're seeing a lot of these deleted scenes from the reboot season, it factors in that like, oh yeah, there probably were like conversations had that just got cut for time.
Yeah. And like what I kind of I once again I don't know. I get the feeling we're probably not going to see much from before All Stars because everything we've seen at this point has been All Stars and after.
Yeah.
But in case we do, I think one thing that'd be really cool to see if it somehow happens is like if there's anything that exists from like the original Haute Couture episode.
Oh. Well, we have storyboards of that, I think.
We have storyboards for it, a couple of them, but not that many. But honestly, I wouldn't. Honestly, I don't think there'd be that many. I mean, I don't know. Like there's some crazy shit happened with like that episode, turning it from the fashion show to like the losers. Honestly, that's one of my favorite episodes of the show, so I don't really mind it. But like, you know, still.
It's fun outside of the elimination. Like, just check. I think that as a kid is why I became like a Noah fan. You know, Closet is Glass. I guess.
No, that's the thing. I like one of the dude. It's like that's also why I think Katie and Sadie are like way better than people give them credit for. Because that episode is framed around Noah, Katie, and Sadie, and it's kind of really cute and fun. Like it's fun. I love that episode so much. It's the last time
we ever get anything about Katie and Sadie, really.
That's why I loved the episode so much as a kid, was because it focused on characters that were really underexplored, never really given that much. I would say Katie and Sadie's last like important episode was Total Drama Island. Like that I think they were more explored in that one, but I know what you mean.
Well, that one, like, it's always attached to Total Drama Island, and I understand why, but it's very clearly...
It's an action episode.
It's episode zero of action. Like,
it was made with action.
Yeah.
It was made by, Heather's head shape. It was made while action was being made. It was made with action in mind. Like, on some level, like, that's why I covered it in my action video, because covering it in the Island video, like, doesn't make as much sense, at least to me.
No, I get that. I do. I also do love that episode. That's like one of my favorites, just because I do like seeing
one of my favorites too.
We like never get to see. I do love that. Did that ever get an HD or no?
Island, yes.
I think it might have, but I forget.
Drama.
Yeah, drama. I know Island did, but I'm talking about drama.
I believe so, because it's.
I think it might have in the last couple years.
Wait, let me go. I have the DVD. Let me go physically check. You guys hold down the fort. I'm gonna go physically.
It's probably
check
not on the DVD.
Is it not?
Okay, so I will say, just going
DVD
back,
came out during action.
It did?
Yeah.
Is the action?
You know what? Let me go check this real quick. You guys conversate.
Okay, so going back to the leaks for a second, I will say, like, this is very tinfoil hatty of me, just because I don't know exactly when production started, and I don't know how attached to this they are. But as someone who also has a bit of connection to Survivor, this is also the time frame when Survivor 41 aired, and at the time, it wasn't like seen as that big a deal. But as more and more years pass, people have been retroactively hating on it ever since like 2021, 2022. And like, it's not hard to see why. At least in my eyes, the reason I hate it is different than the reason everyone else hates it. I hate it because I think it's boring, and I think it's like literally just filler, which is weird for a Survivor season. But people don't like Survivor 41 because it's the start of the new era. It's a very political season, and it's very hard to hide that. It's kind of crazy how much backlash it got because of that. In regards to like things like how it treats LGBT, how it treats racial stereotypes, how it treats certain things, certain people, certain groups. I think it was a change for the better, but I also think it was handled very poorly in 41. But I also think I dislike 41 specifically because I think it's a boring season. 42 managed to do it better, and the way Survivor works is they film the 2 sets of seasons back to back. So people, when they're doing 42, they had no idea what the reaction to 41 was going to be. Yet I assume there must have been some talks behind the scenes, because 42 was structured very similarly to 41, and yet it's an infinitely better season while still having those, like, you know, it's talking about like race relations, it's talking about LGBT, but it handles it in a lot better manner. And I have to wonder if possibly, you know, because of how inspirational Survivor is to Total Drama, like, you can't just not make that comparison. I think they've gone on record, right, saying that was an inspiration. Oh my god.
No, not about that.
Okay, I thought we were talking about. Okay.
No, we're talking about Survivor, and you know, just in regards to the deleted scenes. So I have to wonder if maybe they're like, okay, well, we want the representation, but we don't want to make it like too much, you know? They wanted to hold back some things, which I understand. I don't necessarily agree with. I understand. But again, that's all very tinfoil hatty of me, where it's just like, I don't know if this is exactly how it went down. But the timelines would line up.
Well, I think there was a different philosophy, specifically in the 2000s, that people had a chip on the shoulder about being like, yeah, I'm this thing, but I don't make it my whole personality. Where a lot of that has shifted, that like people are a lot more proud of the way they orient. That it is a part, like, it's an active part of their life. It's an important part of their personality. Whereas a lot of the time, like, the highest form of representation you could reach in the 2000s is someone being like, yeah, he's gay, and we don't care. We're not even bothered by it a little bit. I'm looking at
back to the Office episode.
Yeah, I'm looking at the back of this box right now. It says all 27 episodes, including the reunion special, which is really funny that they refer to it as the reunion special. It makes it seem like it's posthumously and also like a grand finale to the series. So drama is on
the
this
action one definitely is the reunion special. That's not really much of a reunion special. I kind of just thought like that was them like right after the finale. Like,
yeah,
isn't that supposed to be, like, right after the
Is
finale?
the reunion special the Celebrity Manhunt episode, or is it like?
No, because
That
this
should
is
be-
this is the
well,
DVD
that
for
is
Island
the
that came
reunion
out
special.
during
Okay.
action. I think the
That
reunion
should be the
special is
reunion-
drama because it's is it double length or triple length?
It's 2 episodes
44.
long.
Okay, so yeah, I imagine
like
it would
44
have to be
minutes.
separated from the traditional episodes anyway. It says 27, which
Yeah.
means it also has the fucking TDI rundown that was created for Cartoon Network. So yeah, we have all of that
great.
on there.
Interesting.
But yeah, no, I think these leaks. Switchy, I do want to get your opinion on something, because you, you know, you have the most. You're probably the most ingrained in this.
I've
culture.
cut my teeth
What
the
do you think
most.
You're the total
Yeah,
drama
exactly.
guy.
What do you think about Chef being a furry being cut?
I could go either way. I didn't really mind it too much. I watched the clip and I didn't really feel very strongly about it. Honestly, like, it's cute. Like, it's whatever. Actually, the real Devin Mack, I think he is a furry, or at the very least, like, he retweeted
you're right,
Charlotte
yeah.
Hare's furry con animation, the Total Drama furry con animation.
That's awesome. I like the idea of like, yeah, can we work this into the show? Actually, just kind of riffing in the voice booth.
One of the clips that I really am sad they didn't include is God, why am I blanking on his name? Who's the first eliminated in the reboot?
Caleb.
Caleb. Like, him talking about how he's just like good at everything, but he's not actually good at everything.
Yeah.
He fucking sucks, but everyone just because yeah, it shows him like, oh, I got first prize as a kid painting, and it's like this shitty ass painting.
Yeah, and he's
like,
still
I'm really good
shirtless
at
under the
wrestling.
smock. Yeah.
He's like beating the shit out of this like gay guy, but the gay guy just
really
lets him
good beekeeper.
mount him and shit like that. Like, and I'm just like and I'm like thinking to myself, like, man, they should have kept that, because first of all, it kind of like re-explores certain kind of character traits in reboot season 2. Is like, at some point, like, I forget which team is which, half of one of the teams is like all these characters who are effectively like Olympic level athletes. You have
Yeah.
like Priya, you have Bowie and Caleb and Nichelle all on one team. And like Nichelle apparently trained her butt off and became like a pro between the 2 seasons.
Yeah, we don't really
Caleb
know
is
how
just
much
seen
time
as
took place between the seasons, but
yeah, I
mean,
think
honestly,
they said a year maybe, but I don't
Yeah.
even. I'm not 100% sure. Caleb specifically is like, he's just super strong. Priya's been training her whole life, and then Bowie they kind of went back and forth because like in his original like introduction, they imply that he was a super good athlete, but also really smart, just did really crazy good stuff, like just super good at everything. But they didn't really explore that throughout the show, other than him just being a pretty competent player. But it's just like I don't know, like they shoved that in our face too much in the reboot, in my opinion. Like it's just it's just not that fun of a trope if there's like more than one character who's just equipped for everything, ready for everything, just able to do everything. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean, the teams in
Right.
season 2 aren't even that different from the teams in season 1, so there's not.
Yeah.
There's a
They're very
handful
much
of
not
new
different. They're
interactions.
almost exactly the same.
Yeah, but the only new interaction or new story is between Priya and Caleb. Everything else is just kind of doing what they did last season.
I feel like the reboot
well, that's
more
not
than
entirely true. We also get Rip Axel.
that's
That
true.
was in season 1.
And
No?
No, they were rivals in season 1, but they fell in love in season 2.
All right, I saw it in season 1. I knew that the hints were there. I could sense something was
no.
up the whole
Well, that's
time.
fun. Did I feel like the reboot more? And there's a lot of reasons for this, but I think it's probably one of the few seasons, at least for me, where I can remember a conversation between two characters, and I'm not sure which season it's from. And maybe it's because I haven't watched as much as the other
that's 'cause
seasons.
It's
But
the exact same cast.
it's the
Yeah.
exact same cast,
And
exact
it's
same
ostensibly
location.
one season. I think that season 2 is
Yeah.
better,
It really
but it's
is. It
basically
kinda
one
is.
season.
I agree. I think season 2 is the superior season.
I don't know if I
Even
liked
though-
season 2 as much as I did at first when I watched it. I think the reason I liked it so much when it first came out was just because it had been so long that since we had last seen like Total Drama be able to work off of already established relationships between characters,
Yeah.
and that alone was so exciting for me.
I guess
because I don't know. I
season
mean,
two
it's
in
like
a
that's
bubble
why I
isn't
love
as
action. That's
good.
why I love World
I do think it's
Tour.
really good.
And I don't know. I mean, that specifically just kind of changed the spirit of the competition. We got to see the like boy girl like team creation again. I loved that.
That was great.
Though,
Glad we got that.
and also I love
doesn't
Wayne.
factor in for
I know some
non-binary
people say that
campers.
Wayne got like
Wayne is
got
peak.
kind of
Wayne is so
got
good.
kind of like
I love Wayne.
overly flanderized, but I still love Wayne. I think
I
Wayne's
mean,
great.
he showed
Wayne
up
is
to
the
the
goat.
island flanderized. Like, he was like that the whole time.
He was,
Yeah, like-
he never changed.
I think people have like argued that like in the early episodes of season 1 he wasn't as stupid as he's kind of like played later on, but
I just think he doesn't get as
I don't
much
know.
camera time. I think he arguably is as stupid.
yeah.
Yeah. I also think it's weird that they cut the intro down because
Like
like
3 seconds,
why did-
right?
That was weird. That's like
so weird to me.
is the song shorter or is it just like
No, there's just like
No,
one
it's
extra
not.
clip.
I think
And once
they
you
don't
notice it's
have
been
the
cut,
scene-
it looks way weirder.
It does look way weirder. It really does. And because now Chase, Emma, and Damien, other than at the campfire, they just don't have any presence in the theme.
makes me sad.
It's weird because it's like, because Chase and Emma were also like super prominent in that first season. So it's like, what are we doing, guys? Come on. Like,
Well, I can
get
understand
your
why you'd
shit
want to
together.
like cycle in different characters, but it's it is sort of the same crew at the top echelon, and they do that with other seasons too, where it's like, oh well, these are the best competitors of the game. Duncan like always made it to the end, even if he was brought back later on in World Tour.
Duncan I still think is probably like top 3 total drama character ever, even like with
Yeah.
all the stupid shit they made him do later on. I think he is
I
just
think-
like everything that's good about Duncan in my opinion is what total drama is like what's so good about total drama. Like at least for
I'm
me.
kinda-
Like it's
I'm kind of like waning on Duncan a little bit, just like with all the rewatches I've done. It's just like,
no, the thing about
He
Duncan
has
is that
good
like
episodes
the
and
more
bad
the,
episodes.
the more people wane on him, the more like Wayne, and Raj,
Right.
the more people wane on
Right.
him, the more hardened I am with my love for Duncan. I don't know.
Yeah. What happens a lot whenever people like go back to something and they're like, actually, this thing wasn't that good. It's like, well, no, it was good. Sometimes things are just good. But I think it's really funny. A lot of a lot of people in the chat are talking about the concept of rage baiting. A lot of Duncan's early character is rooted in that, and it's funny from a strategy standpoint that mere weeks or even days after they saw Ezekiel get eliminated for the reason he got eliminated, Duncan is immediately being sexist to the rest of the team.
I was gonna
From a strategy standpoint, you should know that's a bad idea.
Misogyny has changed so much in like the years where you look at how Duncan treats these women, especially like Courtney, basically, early on.
Well, he doesn't talk to anyone else
people,
on the team.
Back then, they're like, people don't notice that it's misogyny. It's sexism. And they know it's sexism, but it's like, oh, it's flirty, it's playful. But it's like, because chauvinist. Ezekiel is so much more straightforward. He's so much more like, oh, guys are better than girls because of this, because of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's less.
Have you guys considered that Duncan is a tall, handsome, like punk Chad, and Ezekiel is like this
human resources situation?
It's like Duncan also has like the broad shoulders. Meanwhile, Ezekiel's like some smelly little like niblet person.
Did Ezekiel write this?
Yeah, no, literally. No, but like jokes. There is some truth to that. Like there's some. Well, you know, I think another example of that is in like the camping episode where Jeff tells Bridget, "Wow, you pitch a tent like a guy."
Right.
And it's like, I was like, is he allowed to say that?
Yeah. Is the bit supposed to be that he flubbed up by calling her a guy, or is it supposed to be like a boner joke? Like I never understood.
Oh, I didn't even think about the boner joke, but now that you say that, I'm like, oh, that's
too.
But I don't think that's
kind
what they're going for, though. It doesn't make sense.
I thought it was just now that you say that, like I feel like it makes more sense.
You're
because,
having a
like,
Xenoblade moment where last week I'm like, oh, that's why they call it Xenoblade.
Well, because I mean they're pitching a tent, and it's like, oh wow, you're really good at pitching up tents. I mean, I don't know if is that weird to say? Like I mean, because you know, like Bridget's a more outdoorsy girl than a lot of the other girls. So like Jeff is like saying like, oh wow, I mean, I didn't expect you to be so handy in this kind of situation.
Maybe I was like an aloof kid, but there's a lot of stuff I remember seeing in season 1 with Jeff that like I didn't understand why it was bad. Like when I thought that there was like some kind of gag with like, oh, think of me whenever you drop loose change into this. I'm like, is that a euphemism I don't understand? But I think just the bank sucks. Like I think what they're going for is the gift sucks. But it always seems like there's another shoe about to drop, and it never really does.
Yeah. Oh wow, the pitch a tent thing. I like that line so much more now. But no, dude, like low key, like this. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like Duncan gets away with murder. But I don't know. He's charming and he's funny. And honestly, maybe it's problematic. I kind of like him saying terrible things to Courtney to get a rise out of her.
He's clearly just doing it to like upset her specifically.
Charming. He's a charming guy, especially in those first 2 seasons. But like, it's still misogyny. It's still sexism.
I'm not even saying that like it's good or bad for the show. I'm saying from a strategy standpoint, Duncan should be looking both ways before he crossed the street. You know, like this is. Noah and Justin just happened. So as far half of the people eliminated from the Killer Bass have been eliminated due to misogyny. So you need to watch. If you're watching the show from the start and you don't know anything about it, I got to show the show to someone last year who hadn't previously seen it, and it was kind of illuminating.
Was it Tia?
Yes. And something I realized in that, and also rewatching it this year, is that like Gwen is the main character. Like I know that they play up Trent to be like the straight man, but there are so many moments that don't involve Gwen that we cut to her confessional. Like legitimately, like whenever Gwen is not on screen, we should show Gwen reacting to whatever is happening on screen. And like
the Bucky Fear Factor episode.
Yeah, like she is the story through line, and watching the finale, the alternate ending, because I think both Canada and United States got. All of North America.
They both did Owen. They both did Owen. That, like, Gwen only won originally in like fucking Scandinavian shit.
But the Gwen ending makes so much more sense because otherwise, what is Trent doing? Like, it doesn't. It tracks better with her and Trent's character. And honestly, Owen probably doesn't need to win. I understand why people voted for it because he's a likable guy. But clearly, like, everything that the writers had involved, the goal was to make Gwen the main character. That is sort of the character's through line.
But they also kind of then just went back on it because there's now a plot point in action that doesn't make sense if he didn't win. And now he is just the winner. Because of what happens in the reboot.
Like, in the past few months of the show, they've kind of sort of I don't want to say it's a full-on confirmation because I feel like this is something they could walk back on, but they sort of canonized certain endings, and the reason I say that is because on the channel, they posted a bunch of they posted like all alternate endings, total drama, like on the official channel, and the alternate endings I'm pretty sure were Gwen, Duncan, Alejandro, Lightning, and dude, I don't give a fuck about Mike and Zoe. And then I think Sky. Like,
the fascinating one to me is Lightning, because in the U.S., Lightning won.
I remember being so disappointed. I wanted to see Cameron win.
Conceptually, that the U.S. audience voted for this fucking jock. Which makes
sense. I'm pretty sure they didn't even vote. They didn't have a vote for. They didn't have a vote for Revenge. But I knew that Cameron was gonna win in Canada, so I was like so excited to see the Cameron ending. And then I see this like stupid ass Lightning ending. I was so disappointed.
Because it is different by like
they
a
had
second.
that one scene.
In retrospect of the show, even though like Cameron is
it is. It's also. I think it might also be one of my least favorite finales. Maybe just under All Stars.
I actually All-Stars, as in like less bad or worse?
No, like less bad.
Okay, yeah.
I think All Stars definitely has the All Stars is the worst finale in my opinion.
The problem with All Stars and Pocketail's finales is that they factor in with characters who aren't in the competition. Like so much of the story is taken up by either Heather and Alejandro and Gwen and Cameron or like Dave, even though like they're not in the competition right now.
Yeah, though I mean, on some level, I think it's. I mean, you can argue that's kind of the same case with like the Island finale, because at least with in some case because Heather and Trent played a big role in the Island finale, and in some ways that's very similar to the kind of role that Dave and Jasmine played, where they're kind of like a foil or someone who's kind of invested in the character that they're kind of rooting for or working against, kind of winning. I want to go back to you saying that Gwen was the main character, because I agree. I think so that's Action Island specifically is so much framed about, I think, Gwen sort of being kind of aloof, being kind of nasty, being kind of harsh, and slowly kind of softening up with things like Jeff, with things like Trent, just kind of learning to not be so cynical all the time. Yeah. And
I mean,
that's why a lot of people say they prefer
for like the goth character who is reacting to all this. Like, I know that Trent is supposed to be the straight man character, but he's like way more accepting of everyone. So having a character like Gwen who can point at the camera and be like, get a load of this, isn't this stupid?
Yeah,
isn't this silly?
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but at the same time, there's one scene in the finale with Gwen that kind of really pisses me off, and that's when she's like kind of complaining about the entire cast.
Yeah, she says like, there's only 5 people, and it's like a random.
Like, what about Jeff?
That I don't.
You took a picture.
No, that's the thing.
Why is Cody in there?
That's the thing that bothers me. Because Cody's in there.
Because she likes Cody.
And they had this whole thing.
But they had this whole
thing about Jeff. So wait, the 5 was Cody, DJ, Trent, Owen, and Lashana. Which is crazy.
Yeah, they go back and forth on that.
Gwen and DJ interacted a single time.
Yeah, Heather is nicer to DJ than Gwen is.
DJ's just everyone's friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I've always chalked that up more to just Island being kind of sloppily written. But I think like it's still the spirit of Gwen sort of not being so cynical all the time. Well, and on some level, I think I still like Owen winning because I think so much. I mean, I think like the final episode of that season is so much about the fact that Gwen and Owen are getting along. They're friends. They both kind of learn to appreciate each other, and they, despite being so different, they found a lot of common ground. And I kind of like the fact that Owen wins because he was always himself. He was always positive. He was always someone that like try to see the best in things, try to see the best in people, and that kind of innocence and that pure kind of naivety, or that pure spirit, I guess, just that optimism just coasted him through the game. And Gwen, despite not winning, she still just kind of grew a lot as a person, kind of had her whole teenage sort of just change. She changed, she grew, she learned more about herself, she learned more about the people around her. I don't know, I always liked that.
Huh? Yeah, she said it would pay for
Did she say she was going to go to college? Okay, so that's interesting because
she's going to study art history. Oh no,
Well,
Gwen,
what's
don't do
interesting
that,
about
Gwen.
I
that
wonder
is
she
because
came back
she
to the
said that in
show.
the finale, and in the finale, but the thing is, in the previous episode, she said that no, if she won, she'd be giving Owen half the money.
Yeah,
So,
no,
like,
she said that.
Where is
Well,
she
she said
going?
she would
where
use the rest to go to
this is-
college.
She said that she would. She agreed to give Owen
$50,000, even in 2008.
In 2007 monies.
That's like nothing.
Yeah.
I think
That's
she's
chump
community
change.
college though. Like I think she said she's just gonna go to like a community college, study art history. She's gonna pay for college with that. And all things considered, that's like kind of reasonable. All things it's not like the most extreme thing ever. But you know, I think that's why they changed it to $1 million because I mean $1 million is a lot, but or $100,000 is a lot, but it's like.
It's also
That can't
kind
even
of
buy you a
nothing.
house. Like,
It's more like $60,000 after taxes.
Right. And
No,
what is that in
literally.
today's money? Like $50? Get a fresh new game for it. I mean, there's
this was considered a comically large amount of money in 2007.
That's what I don't. So the for those of you who don't know, the crux of the project I'm working on is less specifically about Total Drama and more something that the patrons requested, which is a retrospective look at a very specific era of Cartoon Network, which was like 2008 to 2010. So the first video that will hopefully be released at the end of June is a little Chowder prologue, because Chowder premiered before both Flapjack and Total Drama on the same day. So there's like a 13 episodes worth of that's a prologue, and then July will be talking about all three of them airing at the same time. And what I wanted to go with that show, because like, how do you talk about a show that you really like and it is funny, other than just like saying I really like it and it is funny? So I wanted to delve more into like the people that made the show, and specifically because you mentioned earlier that Total Drama is not muddled, but like jumbled a little bit because they changed their mind off of what they want to do. Where I don't want to attribute too much meaning to like specific writers, but there's a lot of different episodes written by a different team of people, and you could tell what specific writers were going for. I would argue that Total Drama Island probably had a more strict writer's room than something akin to Flapjack or Chowder, because Thurup doesn't even work on most episodes of Flapjack. But there are specific like quirks tied to specific writers, like, oh, they really like writing this character. Like if there's an episode where all of a sudden Izzy is the center of attention, is doing a lot of like wacky slapstick stuff, you can tell which writer is writing it. And I think that maybe while they had a rough plan, it really was just like, you're running it like any other showrunner, and if your experience is 16, you're just like, all right, well, you do this episode, without like thinking too much about what character development, what actual stuff is going to happen.
That's having a big part of it. Like, I think, for example, that infamous Gwen line where that infamous Gwen confessional, I think like it was, you know, the show was kind of being written a little bit out of order. I mean, they had the base, I'm sure they had the basic, you know, the basic plot kind of figured out, but they're kind of dividing up the work, divvying things up, and someone kind of, you know, they know that Gwen's like basic bullet points is that she's kind of cynical, she's a little rude, but you know, she kind of keeps things real. So they're like, oh, let me like make her say a line about how stupid she thinks everyone is, you know? And you know, actually, I'm also, you know, I have to bring these back to 16 because I'm watching it right now for the first time, and there's kind of a similar thing with Nikki. I think Nikki and Gwen are two very similar characters in both just the fact that they're like alt or whatever, they kind of dye their hair, but also the anchor they kind of play in the show. And what I mean by that is that they're never doing extremely ridiculous things, at least, you know, for Gwen, at least in season 1. Gwen, as you said, Trent is like the normal basic guy, but Gwen is more of the straight woman in the sense that like all the stupid shit happens around her, and she's kind of the figure that acts like a reasonable person would act towards it. She doesn't have like, oh, Jones, you know, they're sort of the audience surrogate in the way that they're reacting to crazy shit, being like, this is stupid, this sucks, I don't want to do this, you know? Yeah. And Nikki plays a similar role because there's so many character episodes in 16 where Nikki isn't really involved that closely in the problem that needs to be solved. She's mostly more of a voice of reason kind of character. But it's also funny because there's occasionally bits in 16 where it's sort of implied that Nikki is a little sadistic and a little mean-spirited. And I can believe that as part of her character, but it's not something that's explored that much in the realm of, you know, like the plot of the show. She's usually normally she does what she's supposed to do in the episodes. And she's kind of just like the cynical punchline character a lot of the time. That's not a problem, but I think like when they wrote that Gwen line, they were just kind of channeling that. It's like, oh yeah, these guys don't clean up after themselves. The food sucks. Everyone's loud. I hate sharing a bunk with people. That was my bed. You know, it's just it's she's a pessimist. So they're just kind of like writing that down, even if it's a little bit out of place with, oh, she really kind of opened up to Jeff.
Yeah.
You know,
I will say that like that happening in the finale makes a little bit more sense because like from her perspective, the show is about to end and there's not going to be any more of it. And they also probably won't see these confessionals at least until they all go home. So there's a little more of like the light at the end of the tunnel situation where once you're closer to the end of it, you can kind of face like, oh wait, no, actually this sucked. I hated this. But like at the tail end, you're like, okay, yeah, I might as well accept it. But as soon as you're almost out of it, it's like, well, actually, hold on. Everything that happened over the last, I don't know, year is bubbling
8
up
weeks.
all of a sudden. Well, that's what they say. It's a summer. They say a challenge happens every 3 days.
They say this year, this week all the time.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, like Island was like canonically 10 days ago. What are you saying this year in action for?
I will say that like they air differently, and obviously for most people, whether it comes to like whether it be anime, video games, any TV show, the original way it was produced is the ideal way. But if you're comparing the release orders of these shows, like how it aired on Teletoon and how it aired on Cartoon Network, I much prefer that Cartoon Network starts seasons of Total Drama in June and then they lead into the rest of the year. One, because it means that every season accidentally has a Halloween episode that happens to line up on Halloween specifically. Like Action has the train mystery that happened to air in October. Like that was just kind of a happy accident. And it makes more sense for the show to start in summer like that. To the degree of like this video I've been working on was supposed to be like one video, but what I'm doing instead is releasing it in 3 parts across the summer, like June, July, August, because that's what Total Drama is.
You're releasing the whole video in 3 parts that he'll have to watch separately.
It's not even the whole video. What I'm writing right now is basically just we've talked about this a lot. What happened last year is that I had a bracket in the Patreon, and I allowed the patrons to pitch me ideas, and then we would pit them against each other and let them vote each week. And the winner of that was an amalgamation of ideas that was talking about Chowder, talking about Flapjack, and talking about that Cartoon Network nudes era, which of course includes Total Drama. So when I went into it, I'm like, okay, I can talk about this era, and people want it. Like, they specifically listed retrospective. So while it would be easier to just talk about it, I'm like, all right, I'll do a retrospective. Let's be as specific as possible. And I'm like, all right, I'll write this era from 2008 to 20. This era is also not entertaining. I'm going to retool this and just talk about these shows from these years. And then as I was writing it, I'm like, okay, this is actually a lot, and I'm getting past the 5-hour mark here for each of these. I should just talk about 2008 then. And now what I've landed on is I think the August one is going to end in like autumn, like September 2008, and then I'll pick up the holiday stuff around the holidays. So these 3 videos really barely cover a year's worth of time. That's how comprehensive this is being. And I never really wanted to be one of those people that like makes a long video that doesn't need to be long, but since I built it this way, I tried to do everything in one video, but that eventually got retooled into like, okay, I'll make it a trilogy, and eventually got retooled into like, okay, there's a trilogy about 2008, to, all right, I'll do 3 videos for the summer of 2008, and then maybe Halloween 2008, I'll talk about a different time. So I'm releasing what is done on those dates, and I think I could at least get the summer of 2008. It's a lot more comprehensive than you would think, and it covers a lot of tangents within that video. But that's what I'm working on right now. It has been all-encompassing throughout the entire year. Yeah, well, the other thing, too, is that, like, realistically, I could just work on this and then release all of it, like, across several months. But there's other stuff I'm working on that I also want to get done. So I think the idea of like all the total drama related stuff being relegated to the summer is a lot more of like a channel based tradition and more systemic with that, as opposed to like, okay, I'll do a part of this every month for the next like 2 years, because there's other stuff that I know people don't care about as much in compared to these shows, but I would much, there are other videos that I want to do that have to take precedent over that. But that's what I have planned for this summer at the very least. Now, before we're about an hour, 20 minutes into this. Do we have anything more to say about Total Drama, the TV show?
I'm trying to think. Like, I think that's pretty much it. I'm excited for more leaks. I might make another short about it. I don't know.
I really like
I want
that
to tell
short.
one more story. I want to tell one more story. So when I was when I had someone animating the Switchy wins the finale alternate ending for Pocket Tale, Timus had to recreate like the entire, you know, snowy mountain kind of I guess like stage kind of setting, but from scratch, basically. I mean, he used a lot of show assets he already had, but it's not a perfect match because, frankly, I like we had to do it in a small amount of time, so he kind of worked fast. He did a great job. I don't want to diss him, but like he worked fast, he worked quickly, and he had to, he had to put it all together. And then he also wanted to include a clip of Jasmine and Sean along with Dave. But once again, we didn't have that much time, so he only kind of he made very simple rigs as far as I think. So 2 months later, no, a month and a half later, oh, all of that's here now. You can download it.
Yeah.
You can drag me onto the fucking screen anytime you want. It's like wow, this could have been so much easier. You know, that's all.
I posted it in
Worse.
in a cartoon community server a little bit earlier, right? Maybe it was last night, that I have been doing all this comprehensive research specifically about Chowder and the people who made it. And I'm in the editing phases, and I'm hoping to get the video done this weekend, meaning that I can't really add anything more. And then Maxwell Adams announced yesterday that he's going to be doing a podcast episode heavily implied to be with the creator of the show, C.H. Greenblatt. And they talk a lot about directing and storyboarding, and I'm like, you couldn't have done this like a month earlier. Like, I'm already in the finalized phases of this video.
Couldn't I just uploaded the video and then that comes out and then like everyone just comments that, like just sends me the link in the comments, so I get a lot of comments about it.
Well, I
like,
still
bro.
get so many comments on the Mako Mermaids video of people telling me that the final season is on YouTube because I can access it now. And I appreciate that. Keep driving up engagement, but just know that I have seen your comments. We have our...
I like the idea of like 2 years after that video comes out. It came out in 2024, right?
25, yeah.
Oh, okay, my bad. But yeah, no, like a year and a half after that video came out, like I imagine you going to like on your computer and like checking your comments. You're like, holy shit, the season's on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most of the comments I get are on older videos, but I think it's really funny that you can. And I'm not trying to do this to like compliment myself or whatever. But I can see a specific through line. I can see when people are making their way through the videos for the first time and leaving
I love when that
comments on
happens.
all of them. And the one that's my favorite, and it happens multiple times, is I get comments on the Izzy video that are like, his hair is so beautiful. I love his hair. This is so great. And then I can see them commenting on the second Total Drama video just being like, no. And that's the legacy of that one. It's weird, the baldness I did this time around, it's coming back in weird phases. This is gonna be the first time that I gotta like re-up the baldness of it all. I don't like the way it's coming back, but I'm committed to it. Gotta watch.
Ever since I went bald, all my hair's been coming in all patchy and uneven.
I gotta that you're right. I didn't think about it like that.
Oh my
I gotta
God.
say, Zoran Mamdani being on minoxidil is terrible for the bald community. It's really bad PR. But we do have our regular weekly schedule that we have been adhering to. Hold on, I hit a button. I gotta wait for Streamlabs to catch up. I hope that didn't break everything. I don't know what just happened, actually. Is it gonna cut over? Or do I gotta move this? Okay. No, it's trying to. It's not There we go. There's the sound effect, and there's the thing. Okay, so we have this little weekly border we've been looking at. For those of you who are here for Total Drama, we also talk about video games on the show on occasion. This is Switch to Ultra. That we have created this schedule for this coming year and then bleeding into the next year of the Nintendo Switch 2 games that we know about from each week going throughout the summer. And then there are games that we have in 2027 that we don't have a release date for. And even like the Ocarina of Time remake that we know is coming out in 2026. Also, this is kind of unrelated, but I'll finish with the self-promotion here. I do a show on the Patreon called Weekly Monday Nights, where I just go back to whatever was airing on Monday night 15 years prior and watch cartoons on Cartoon Network and wrestling, because that was when I really got into both of those, and it's like for the 15th year anniversary. And as the show goes on, it's becoming increasingly clear that the idea of it was like, oh, it's going to be like a little nostalgia trip where we could watch Adventure Time and Regular Show and The Amazing World of Gumball, becoming increasingly clear that there very well might be a time very soon where we'll just have new episodes of Adventure Time, Regular Show, and Gumball all at the same time again. And what I normally do on the show is I like to encompass that week. So this week would have been June 16th to June 20th. And I'm like, oh, what happened June 16th to June 20th, 2011? And I can tell you guys that plus a couple days, 15 years ago, the hit video game The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D came out for the 3DS. So 2026 really is 2011 too. It's all coming back. If you like Regular Show and Adventure Time and Ocarina of Time and Star Fox 64, you're going to have a great time in 2026. But these are alternating weeks specifically. I've been honing in on Thursday because for the most part, Nintendo will release their games on Thursdays. And you can see it here, June 25th, which is going to be this Thursday, is the release of Star Fox. The Thursday after that is the release of Rhythm Heaven Groove. And then several Thursdays after that is the release of Splatoon Raiders. And we have several games, Switch 2 editions, and re-releases happening like that. However, what we had specifically today, June 23rd, initially was announced in the Direct, was just a specific edition. What is it even called? The Devil Hunter edition of Devil May Cry 5. And June 23rd seemed like a weird day to do it. But also announced and released for today, if I can switch over my tab here, is the Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition dash Nintendo Switch 2 edition. Now, this may come as a surprise for some of you, but for everyone else, we have been getting posts like this for the last couple weeks of people finding Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition in the wild, just at Walmart or Target. And there was someone, did I send this? Yeah, this post came out a couple days ago. It was June 21st, 2 days ago, that people keep trying to buy them from Target and Walmart, but the stores are not allowed to sell them until June 23rd. And now it's June 23rd, and we have the announcement of this game. And this seems like I'm not trying to insult, but this seems like a very strictly Sonic thing to do, where if there was a time to announce this, it would have been during the Summer Games Fest, because there were a lot of Sega-related announcements, specifically at the Summer Games Fest, or actually rather at Xbox presentation. And it's weird that this has been a game that's been leaking out physically in the wild for weeks now, and then they announce it the day it comes out. I can't imagine this was the original plan unless they really wanted to shadow drop this. Do you guys have any feelings about Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition launching the way it did?
Well,
I don't want to.
We're saving it for the birthday thing. I mean, that's why they announced it today. There was the birthday
live
stream.
Today, like a big birthday?
Yeah, it's like the 35th anniversary live stream. So I get why they did today. I get why they announced today. I don't know why
they
they
better
didn't,
than the 25th
announced it and then released it the same day.
Right.
I want to choose my words carefully because I've never distributed a video game and managed its marketing and rollout. But on some level, I still gotta say what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck? It's ridiculous. I don't know. I mean, it's the. I guess occasionally you'll find games, get released a day early or whatever, but that's not super. Why is it? Why do they shadow release it? That doesn't make any sense to me.
For shadow.
Why didn't they tell us? They just dropped it today.
Available.
That I don't know why they wouldn't.
Tell
announce the date like a month before. I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean,
Like,
it's weird.
If you want to do
weird.
the
It is
anniversary,
weird.
then you could release it on the anniversary. It's weird. I mean, quite honestly, like, even if they did announce it ahead of time, or even this is like a shadow drop, I have never seen this happen with any other game. I've never seen copies of a game show up days before its release. Like, maybe there were occasional, like, visuals of the Switch 2 and games like that, but this specific post was from June 15th, 2026. So this is weeks ago. Or a week ago. No, it was multiple weeks ago that this was just popping up. And this is how people first learned about it. To the point where, like, this original post, people thought it was fake because they're like, surely you wouldn't be able to find that in the wild. Like, they wouldn't forget to announce that. And I don't think they did forget to announce it. Whenever it comes to, like, big video releases like this, maybe we attribute too much time into how much time goes into, like, these video presentations. But and maybe they had this prepared ahead of time. Because to my understanding, I only played original Sonic Frontiers. This is just the Switch 2 edition. Like, was there already a definitive edition? Let me look into this. I want to see if Sonic Frontiers...
So.
Yeah, because I know that it's a game that they updated a lot after release. Can I look up initial release? See if I have that there. These are just images. That's not helping me. No, maybe this is just... Yeah, no, Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition had its initial release on June 23rd. So I don't know what makes the Switch 2 edition the Switch 2 edition, but you could already play Sonic Frontiers on the original Switch. I think you can actually carry your save over. I haven't played this on the Switch 2, so I have no example to go off of, but I have heard not great things about the way it plays on the Switch 2 that seem
It plays pretty terribly.
Yeah, hyper-specific to, like, only third-party games on the Switch 2. Like, I haven't seen as big problems with, like, the big releases, but it seemed like so much of the Switches, the original Switches, early hype was based on how many games they could put on it. And I don't know what I can and can't say. There's a reason why there's not a lot of third-party support on the Nintendo Switch 2. There are Nintendo-based reasons as to why. Let's see the start of the video, literally say Sonic's 35th anniversary. Listen, I didn't see that. I assume I'm so used to, like, birthdays like this in video games lasting for 2 years. So I got whiplash from the Mario thing where they're like, Mario's 40th, and that was last year.
It's like Trina's birthday on Victorious.
Yeah, the
where
35th
like,
could last for as long as they want it to, depending. You know, they could release a game and say, like, oh, we plan to release this for the 35th, but no. There are additional releases as well. Obviously, the big thing we're gearing up for this Thursday is the Star Fox remake. And before we head into the Star Fox remake, have our thoughts changed at all? Obviously, we haven't gotten our hands on it yet. But is anyone getting cold feet about this situation?
Voice acting is kind of shitty. I didn't
have
really
seen a lot of
see
talk
like
about that.
I didn't really see like the clips of the voice acting until like a couple days ago, and I kind of was talking shit because like this was actually this was actual like low key rage bait, but I kind of do sort of mean it, but it's probably not the best way of putting it. I said on Twitter, and it kind of got some traction. I was saying there was a comparison between the voice acting in 64 versus the remake, and I was like saying like voice acting was low key better when the people who were hired to voice act weren't professional voice actors.
Yeah,
and
well,
like
so much of the character is
yeah,
in
you're
the
not
compression
wrong.
too.
Well, yeah, but also, and that's not really even a dig at the actors themselves, even though it kind of sounds like that because I'm being an asshole. But it more has to do with the direction and just the identity and the approach people take with voice acting in these kinds of games nowadays. And frankly, I'm gonna be honest, I kind of hate it. I don't know. I mean, I've never been a big fan of the like the Funimation dub voices.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's where the
I gotta ask
slander of the
because we're
anime
both
voice
in
comes
this like
from.
fandom kind of thing. I gotta ask because Switchy and I are both in this fandom.
Ooh.
Because I feel like a good way to compare this is with what they did to Ace Attorney, basically. If you know what I'm talking about.
What did you say we were both into?
Damn.
Ace Attorney.
Accusations. I wanna
Oh,
be
Ace
that guy
Attorney.
and go
I'm
pee.
sorry. Like, I heard you were kind of quiet, so I wasn't sure. Yeah, in some ways, yeah. I mean, like, for example, like Phoenix Wright's original objection sounded like just a guy yelling objection, and the one in the post 2012 one sounded like a voice actor saying
Yes,
objection.
it sounds like a voice actor, exactly.
Objection. And that's like that's a certain approach you kind of hear a lot in a lot. It's very often stuff that was originally recorded in Japanese dubbed, whether it's video games or anime or anime style video games. I think one of the big reasons Star Fox sounds so different isn't necessarily even the personnel, although I think that's part of it, because nowadays voice actors, at least for these kinds of things like video game dubs and stuff, there's a whole approach that kind of developed outside of existing dubs. And for something like Star Fox 64, I mean, what Nintendo America did, they hired a bunch of, and I'm not going to I don't want to diss them. I don't want to say these people aren't they're not bad actors, but they were relatively small time local actors in Seattle. And for most of them, like Star Fox was their first, there was their first role that they were remembered for. And like Rick May had a theater background. I'm pretty sure that was the case with a couple others. And I don't know, I think back then, no one really knew what video game dubs were supposed to sound like. It's like, imagine being told to voice Star Fox in a pre-Star Fox world. I guess there was Star Fox for the SNES, but no one really knew what these characters are supposed to sound like, how they should talk. So it seemed like they were sort of just kind of leaning into old school, archetypes. Pepe's the wise old man.
Well, to that point,
Star Fox is
if you're basing your direction off of the game that came first, like the audio in that first game is compressed to shit. So I imagine they were like going for that as well.
I think that was also just like classic, just audio, especially on something like the NES. I mean, N64 had to be bit crushed to death and back. Yeah. But that's a big part of it too. I mean, I think the performance is something very different. I think it was just. It was kind of blasé the way they did it for Star Fox 64 in some ways, but I think that sort of adds to the charm. And I don't know, comparing that to the remake, I don't want to diss the voice actors too much. I think it's more the direction than anything. But it's just, I don't know. I'm kind of tired of the the kind of like very breathy anime boy voices. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just something that I'm kind of sick of. I think a lot of people are sort of sick of.
Yeah, there's something to be said about the same example of Star Fox, like you're basing it off of what came before, and the more people that do that kind of lose why they were doing that, and then they just like, oh, this is just what it's supposed to sound like, and going in that loop. Another video I've been working on involves watching a lot of specifically anime from the 90s, but I've been watching one from 1979, and it's kind of weird whiplash. I'm like, oh, they're talking like people. This is weird. Like this, I'm not used to this in an anime dub.
Mm-hmm. That's a big thing. And, honestly, it's interesting to me because I'll be honest, like a lot of the modern, I think once again, I think it's very much a direction thing. I think Star Fox, the original 64, doesn't make people roll their eyes as much because although it's a little cheesy, it's not something that they perceive as overdone or kind of just overdone. Ill-fitting. A lot of people compared Star Fox, the new Star Fox voice acting to that infamous Breaking Bad bit. It's like the Breaking Bad dub. Yeah. I guess you know what asshole means. Right. It's just that kind of that approach that a lot of modern anime dubs kind of have. That I don't know, I just never really liked that much. It's funny. We were talking about Xenoblade last week, and I was kind of bringing up how Xenoblade's original dub, like when I first played Xenoblade 1, it felt so off the beaten path compared to a lot of other games I played. And maybe it's because I hadn't played a lot of games like it, but I think the voice acting was a big part. Just because, at least the dub, because it was a bunch of British voice actors and so many other, games and anime at the time were dubbed in America in the same kind of Funimation sort of Crunchyroll circuit. A lot of the big names there. So you had this kind of more subdued, less over the top kind of dub for Xenoblade 1 that always kind of stuck with me. I think just because it didn't resemble a lot of the other games that I was playing at the time. And I don't know. I guess that sort of reminds me of why I'm listening to the new Star Fox voice acting and I'm just not into it. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
mean, we'll have to. I'm only gonna play for that little bit on Thursday. I'm gonna do my best. I think that's a decent amount of time, specifically because Star Fox 64 is a pretty
if you know how to
short
play the
game.
game, you can beat it in like 45
Yeah,
minutes. Like,
I
it's not
didn't
long.
end up playing the demo for this, but I did because the game.
Oh, there
that
is a
comes
demo.
out-
I should pick up the demo. Try it
Yeah,
out.
and there's a demo for all of these. That's what I wanted to say as well. Is Rhythm Heaven Groove also has a demo, and we talked last week on the show about a very weird visual that Nintendo released that lists a bunch of Switch 2 exclusives and then Switch 1's game that you can also play on the Switch 2. And for whatever reason, Rhythm Heaven Groove was separated from the rest of them and it just said a Switch 1 game. And we were speculating whether or not it might have limitations on the Switch 2, like that of Ring Fit. And then there was a post, a screenshot from Get Lucky on Twitter that has this down here, this quote that says Nintendo Switch 2 compatibility information, and it says untested. Compatibility will be tested at a later date. So I was realistically pretty worried that, like, is Rhythm Heaven Groove going to be the first Nintendo-made Switch game that you can't play on the Switch 2? But I played the demo on the Switch 2, and it seems to be working fine. It didn't bar me from playing it. So I would be really surprised if you could not play. Even needed to go live on that day to see if I could play, because if it's not on the Switch 2, I still have my Switch, but I would require, like, setting up the dock. Basically, the Switch 2 acts as a replacement for my Switch, so I just moved everything around. Not into storage, but certainly out of the way. But I can tell you guys, the Rhythm Heaven Groove demo does work on the Switch 2.
I played it too on the Switch too.
Mm-hmm. I also like that specific character, the one that we saw in the Direct and later Directs, is the, what's the accessibility mode? Like, they ask you early on, and it makes it that game would require more accessibility features. I like that the character is really built around that, and that's why we hear her talk, is whether or not you have audio descriptors on for the rest of the game. Because although, like, I would say that Rhythm Heaven, maybe I'm just, like, really, really rhythmically impaired, is one of the harder games for me to play, Nintendo-wise.
1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E.
Exactly. Oh, I can't keep up with this, but it also,
God.
like, from a gameplay standpoint, it is just hitting one button. So, like, simplistically, it could, in theory, be an entry point for a lot of people to get into. I think it's probably going to be the last Switch 1 game, maybe. Now that even, like, specific third-party games are coming only to the Switch 2. This is, I mean, we said last week and the week before about how we feel in general about this year for the Nintendo Switch 2, which is going to be June 26 to June 27. I think maybe that a lot of it is held up by the Ocarina remake, and, like, are you guys excited for the Ocarina remake? Because, like, I'm not against it, but I'm a lot more tentative.
I'm not excited. I need...
Well, you know, I've been thinking about this because, you know, I'm gonna be honest. I think I said a couple streams ago that I've never actually finished Ocarina of Time, and like, because I played a section of it as a little kid. I tried it again when I was in, like, middle or high school. I never finished it. I decided to start playing it again a couple days ago. I'm currently at Dodongo's Cavern, I think, or I just finished it, and it's got me thinking about remakes in general, because I decided to play the N64 online version. I decided not to. I decided not to play the 3DS. I tried the 3DS version. The 3DS version's good, but, like, and I know some people because the source code has been they decompiled the source code. You can just run it on your computer and, like, you know, add all these frills and stuff. I decided just to play it in a relatively vanilla state, because it's like, I don't know. I mean, I think I like N64 games. Like, I there's something meaningful to me about the N64 era presentation, and there's something I think I find personally fulfilling about playing a game from that era, not necessarily on the hardware, but with the same presentation from that era. That, like, I don't know, maybe there are people that just can't really stomach the original Ocarina of Time. It's a little bit too slow paced for them, because, you know, a lot of these older Zelda games, like, they'll have you wandering for a while and you're not sure what you want, what you need, and you have to spend several minutes, like, oh, let me try going to this town and looking around, seeing, and, you know, there's certain things that wouldn't fly today with the way video games are designed now. But I don't know. I like that era, and so for someone like me, you know, Ocarina of Time, the game that so many people talk about nowadays that they fell in love with, it exists already, and maybe they can reimagine it and do something cool with it. But I don't know, like Ocarina of Time is good enough for me to have a lovely time with it on the N64. It's not antiquated to me, so it's just, I don't know, what do we need it for? You know?
Yeah, for
I
me,
don't know.
it's just
It's
like the idea of like a remake being the big holiday game, which it
yeah,
probably
that too.
is.
I mean, I think I think people are sick of that too. Because,
Yeah.
like, I mean, and in Nintendo's defense, I think they're going to do things they don't normally do with this remake. It's not going to be like Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Switch or the Tropical Freeze re-release. It's not going to be, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a complete gameplay overhaul. But it's definitely going to be, because like the 3DS version isn't a complete gameplay overhaul. It's just a higher resolution with more detailed models and a couple gameplay rebalancing things. But it's at its core, it's going to be the same game. It was the same game. I think what we're going to get for this new Ocarina of Time is going to be a lot more comparable to like the Final Fantasy VII remake.
I mean, I hope
it's
so.
going to be a whole new.
Say
that's
that
the
like they
case.
want
I
a
hope
ground
that's
up
the
or
case.
they want a remake that's akin to the original experience of Ocarina. But if we're gonna get a big game like this that's simply titled the same thing, I would much rather it be more of like a retelling of that game than just a one-to-one remake. Because the 3DS
Yeah.
can get away with it because the 3DS is comparable to N64 in hardware, maybe a little better. That it's something. It's the 3DS remake is more akin to like a GameCube remake of that game, like immediately following it. But the fact that
it
this is
feels
a
more
home
like that.
console that's several years later, several decades later, I don't know. Ocarina is one of those things where it both doesn't and does live up to the hype, where if you consider like when it came out and what it did, but as from like an individual game experience, the thing that's weird and the thing that worries me is that for Star Fox, a lot of what they added for the remake was less about gameplay modes and more about like high rendered cutscenes and how epic
They got
and cool
more
the
like
story
terrorist
is.
shits per megafart and
Right,
like.
where like that's not really where the fun in Ocarina comes from. But I would
Does
argue
the new Star Fox have like saving? I assume it does. I assume that's not a thing.
Probably.
That's a yeah.
I played. Because it's the Xbox's 25th anniversary, I went back to my weekly Xbox series where I play like original Xbox games on stream, and I played Crash Twinsanity. And then I was like, oh, I don't know how it won't let me save. I guess the game auto saved, and then I closed it and I opened it up and it said 0% progress.
No,
Like,
you
fuck.
you press start to save. You got to save it. Yeah.
But there's nothing in the start menu that allows you to save. You got to go to the. There's like a big board that says save load, and I went up to it and nothing happened. I'm not gonna take this.
Wait,
one
I
really?
play
visually.
Twinsanity.
In Twinsanity, yeah. No, sorry, not Twinsanity. Wrath of Cortex. That's what I was talking about.
Okay, yes, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
That one is kind of weird. You have to go to like a central location to save.
Yeah, that's what it was. I'm realizing how many of my original Xbox games I had as a kid were created by Traveler's Tales, and they are not consistent to any degree. But while we're talking about it, normally on this show, we talk about what's going on specifically in the Nintendo sphere, but it seems like the two headlines outside of course, your Sonic, your demos, your Total Drama, have been the other consoles, and more importantly, other pre-orders that have happened the previous week. Here's what we know now. At least for Grand Theft Auto 6, because this is closer. This is legitimately in 2 days. We have Deltarune coming out tomorrow, and then we have Star Fox coming out the day after. On that same day, pre-orders for Grand Theft Auto 6 will finally go live. We still haven't gotten a trailer since the first episode of the show we had Dan on in May of 2025, where they showed us that GTA 6 trailer. It's been over a year since the last trailer, but it's seeming, I try never to get my, become comfortable in anything. It's seeming like this game definitely will come out on its projected November release date. The thing about a pre-order specifically is this week, pre-orders for the Valve Steam machine, the new Steam machine, have gone live. And with a pre-order, because you are spending money on that thing to arrive at the specific time, now we finally have pricing. And the Steam machine pre-order, this is just the 512 gigabyte console without a controller and without proper storage. The cheapest Steam machine you can buy is $1,050. And of course, Valve has publicly said, or maybe said in articles, that it was originally meant to cost $750, but obviously a for whatever reason, RAM is really expensive nowadays, and we really can't discern why that is. It's impossible to know. But this Steam Machine console is $1,050, which is, I don't know enough about specs, but like this is a worse deal than every other console, right? Like it has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, is it higher end than like the Xbox?
I don't think
Is it higher
so.
end than like the Xbox and PS5, like in terms of, processing power?
I think the appeal is that it is a computer and it's a little less powerful than the PS5 and the Series X, but it's like compact, but it's still fucking expensive.
And theoretically, I suppose they're, people have been hating on Steam. I saw someone make a meme where they kind of compared like Nintendo. They said like Nintendo like does things for soul and Steam does things for money. And that kind of like kills me because it's like, I think it's like low key the opposite.
It is the opposite.
Like, I mean, for
Steam,
what it's worth, like
Steam has
Steam
so
Machine,
much passive income that they really don't need to do ventures like this, but they do it because they want to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, if you're going at the Steam Machine from like a console standpoint, I guess, yeah, it's probably not a good deal. I guess part of what maybe they use as to win people over is the fact that you have a lot more freedom as a consumer with it than you would with like a PS5 or an Xbox. Steam OS is like a Linux fork. You can download shit. You can do whatever you want on this. You can use it as like a computer. I don't know if it'd be the best computer ever, but like, for what it's worth, like I think for some people the Steam Machine might be seen as like an affordable gaming PC.
Right,
they had something similar to that. My friend I forget what it's called. There was like in like the late 10s.
Oh.
No, not the Ouya. There was like a Steam console thing from the late 10s that my friend had.
I think
he just used it as his gaming PC.
Steam Link. It was the Steam.
The Steam Link. Right?
Not the Steam Link. The Steam Link was something that you kind of used to stream Steam games from your other computer. But there was like a console thing, a console PC sort of thing that they had from that era. That this is kind of like a similar thing to. I think it might literally be called the Steam Machine. I'm not totally sure though.
Yeah, I think they have used this name before. Well, like in theory, this is, and I have a roommate like this, that like someone who isn't able to play Steam games because they do not have a computer capable of that I see the appeal in a Steam machine like this, like, oh, you have such a large library of games you can have access to just by buying this. It's bridging the gap between PC gamers and console gamers. That works as a cheaper alternative. And I know it's not Valve's fault necessarily that it is $1,050, but I can't imagine the sheer fact that like you can't buy this in storefronts, or like you can't go into a Walmart or a Target. You have to buy this from the Steam store. So it's working off the interpretation that you already have a Steam account. And if that's the case, you probably already have a computer that you play Steam games on. So it's really not for anyone because it's not an equivalent.
That's why,
to a
I don't really get it. Yeah. I don't really get it, to be honest. Like as much as, like that's why low key, I'll be honest, like I have not really been paying much attention to the Steam Machine shit. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like it's like what do I need it for?
Yeah.
I mean, once again, God bless Valve in some ways because they're so pro-consumer in ways that most other companies aren't. Like if you would rather just use your existing computer or build your own PC and run and play and use Steam on it, you can. If you don't really need your own computer, but you'd rather have like their fancy schmancy controller and you want to map it the way you want to, you can. Yeah. And there's a lot of things that Valve does with Steam that for a long time no other console or game company did. So like I don't know. That's why it's like there's not much in this for me. Yeah. I mean the Steam Deck. I don't have a Steam Deck, but I've considered getting it because that's doing something that's more unique. I mean the reason I've considered getting a Steam Deck is because it's like a Nintendo Switch, but I can run whatever I want on it without having to like mod it or kind of like wrestle with it.
Or did they say it's going to get more expensive?
Yes,
I think it has.
I think it has. Or it's going to very soon.
Damn, I have the cheapest Steam Deck then. That's nuts.
Dude, low-key, I wanted a Steam Deck, but then someone brought up once how they get really hot, and I just kind of imagine holding a Steam Deck while it's really hot. And I'm like, I don't want it anymore.
It's a bed or couch handheld. Like, you can't actually take it anywhere with you, and, like, it could be expected to have a comfortable experience. It's the Wii U, ostensibly. Like, you're in the room, but you get to play it in your bed. Or if you don't already have a computer that can run games, it's a good alternative for that. But Valve, specifically with Steam, because Steam is like incredibly lucrative for Valve. That Valve is like Apple or Leica, that they can keep throwing money at entertainment ventures at a loss because they're never going to run out of money. So they're allowed to do that. We've seen it a lot with like the production of Apple TV shows, and none of the Apple TV Plus or whatever the streaming service is has never turned a profit. To be fair, not a lot of streaming services turn a profit, but it's Apple. I think billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies should be funding the arts a little bit just to say that they can do it. That's what MGM did with Wizard of Oz, like way back in the day. Like if you have all this money and you're never going to act at a loss, you might as well just do ventures like that. So I get the feeling that they wanted to bridge the gap into the console market, but they've committed to this date and committed to releasing this machine and shipping it out. But then things that were really impossible to predict happened we've had generational terrible events happen when it comes to RAM and when it comes to tariffs happen in the last couple years that have completely fucked up every other like game's design, like from a console perspective, that they could not have predicted. I mean, from a voting perspective, you could have predicted, but you couldn't have predicted a lot of the AI stuff and the data centers of it all. So I get the feeling that they're like, yeah, we said we're going to release it, so we're just going to release it. And maybe over time the price will go down, but I doubt it. And we talked earlier about like, oh, I managed to accidentally get the cheap version of the Steam Deck. That now that I have a Switch 2 and a Series X and a PS5 and a decent enough computer, I'm not buying another thing for like a decade. Like I don't care if I'm playing on last gen versions. I'm not buying another console. I'm locking myself in my bunker and playing on what I have right now, because everything is going to be insanely expensive if it already wasn't before.
I genuinely wonder, like, if there's really going to be a future in wireless game hosting. I don't know what the actual term for it is, but like how Kingdom Hearts, they tried doing that thing where you fucking run Kingdom Hearts on like a server and you just play it like some cloud shit. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that starts becoming a thing, like whether it's a good thing, probably a bad thing. But
it's already like a pretty big thing. Like you could play. I know people that did this that like played Xbox games from their phone because you could just cast it to your phone. Your Xbox has to be turned on, but there's a lot of. When PlayStation 5 released, like that's what I thought the Nintendo
Switch originally was. I genuinely thought that when I first saw the trailer, like I just didn't believe that they could have like home console stuff like on something that small, and I was kind of naive for that. But like, it just didn't seem possible to me. So I thought there was like some like wireless cloud bullshit at first, but no, dude. Like, so I don't know. I think on some level that's probably gonna start being a thing.
Yeah,
which is a win in some ways. I mean, I think it's nice that like wireless communication between devices is kind of getting seamless enough that you can literally like play a video game like that's hosted on your computer. But at the same time, like I don't know, there's other like downsides of that, because I think fundamentally like there's probably opportunity to kind of invest in, I don't know, just kind of turning like processing power into a cloud service on the consumer level, even though it's never been that. Like on the business level it has, but like on like the idea of we'll run your games for you is like that'd be reaching a new level.
Historically it doesn't do very well, and consumers don't respond to it very well. It happened with the key cards with the Switch 2. The idea of like not owning what you own, and then there's like Google Stadia. They invested so much money into that, and that we just completely forget about it in the modern day. But obviously, you're in the 6th generation of consoles. You cannot perceive what the 7th generation looks like. You're in the 7th generation. You can't perceive what the 8th generation looks like. Every new console, they're like, whoa, look at these graphics. It's never going to get better than this. So I can't speak vehemently in that fact, but like, how realistic can things look? At a certain point, we have to, I've been saying for years, like, oh, we have to plateau at some point, and we keep not plateauing. But I just don't see the use in needing anything more powerful than the consoles we currently have. What could possibly be required?
This is another thing that I was thinking about, like, and this could also just be like an artistic design flaw, like just an issue on like the behalf of just visual direction. But I was watching the comparisons between like, Star Fox 64 and the remake that's coming out in a couple days. Like low key, the 64 version is a lot more visually clear and easy to understand.
Yeah.
Because the remake, has so many more light sources, so many more colors, so much more detail. Like, it's a lot harder to kind of discern, like, the foreground from the background, kind of see what you're supposed to be looking at. And
so many modern games
some
have like UI pollution that just like looks awful compared to a lot more simplified UI.
And like, I don't know, I kind of think about that. I mean, that's the kind of reason why I feel like I don't really play a lot of, super modern games, because there's just too much going on at once. It's kind of hard to really make sense of it all. Like, I think I like playing retro games a lot because, maybe it's because I'm more used to it, but it's so much easier to tell what's in the foreground, what's in the background, what's something I can interact with, what's something I can't interact with. I don't know. I guess like you could argue that, that's a good or a bad thing, but I don't know. I think that's another thing, is that like in some ways, we have more power to render things at a much more granular level now with so many more polygons and shit. But I don't know. Do we really need that? Does it actually make the game better and more readable? I mean, I feel we're already at the point, and we've been at it for a while, where it's kind of hard to discern individual polygons, except maybe with like background elements and stuff like that. But like on like when you're playing like a modern Switch game, for example, I don't know. I didn't notice like any obvious polygon intersections on Donkey Kong. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. Are we that much better off with ray tracing? Or and also, I mean, the lighting situation with ray tracing, I think in general, it's a good it can look pretty and nice, but it's also, I think, a little more difficult to make sense of things because the lighting's a lot more finicky, and it changes a lot more, and frankly, it's a lot more realistic. I remember doing the thing where you download those like cool ass shaders from Minecraft, and it looks cool. It's really fun, but also there's a lot of things that are a lot harder to see and a lot harder to kind of make your way through. That, I don't know. It's like this is my computer is working harder for this, and it looks cool, but it's also more difficult in some ways. Like, is this really an upgrade? I don't know. I think we've been plateauing for a while now, and in some ways, like, it's kind of a good thing, because I think there's going to be less and less demand for more hardware, not just because of because computer power is more throttled nowadays. I think also there's just not as much need for it.
Well, I mean, we were doing this special stream on Saturday, which is the yearly roulette stream, but this time allowing patrons to compete, and we did it by doing Steam games with remote play. So, you're running Streamlabs and Discord and Steam, and then also remote play through it. You would think there would be a lot of issues, and we landed on this one Dragon Ball game, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, that came out like 2 years ago, and we were trying to get it to work, and like it kept lagging, kept freezing, and then we're like, oh, just turn down all the settings. And we did, and it looked exactly the same, but it ran way better. With all those calculations still happening in the background, it ran perfectly fine and looked more or less interchangeable. So I think that like the plateau comes more from the baseline rather than like its highest capability, because a lot of games have like a performance mode that make it look way better than the original. But even like the default version, like it already looks better than what we could have perceived in prior generations. So there's really no purpose to keep chasing the high of making things look as realistic as possible. To that point, we now know how expensive the Steam machine is because it has gone up for pre-orders. Pre-orders for Grand Theft Auto 6 go up on June 25th. The first official time you could actually see the price point of GTA 6. It's happening in 2 days. It seems that I've already committed, like the Switch 2, to this being a stream series that's going to be a much bigger event when it happens. Unfortunately, I can't opt out now, so I suppose I'm going to pre-order it regardless. What's the most realistic outcome for this? What do you think GTA 6's price point is?
90.
90 baseline?
Probably 90.
Well, I think that they could get away with 100, but at the same time, I also think like they're gonna try and hit that $90. I think they might try and sell at a loss, but I think they'll also make their money back easily.
Yeah. Well, like this is you never want to call something a guaranteed hit, right? Because there's always anything could happen, but specifically with Grand Theft Auto 6, the build up to it, the decade of time without a GTA, the reports that it is the most expensive game ever developed, I think that it's going to make a lot of money regardless. So they could get away with charging it cheaper, but they probably will. The interesting thing about Take-Two is that, like, it's not incorrect to assume that Take-Two, a greedy company, would not price their game really expensive. But if you look at the grind aspect or the microtransaction aspect of something like Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto Online, because online has been incredibly lucrative for them, there actually isn't anything that technically requires you to spend money on that game. It's all free. It comes free with GTA 5. You can buy it separately if you don't want GTA 5 for whatever reason. It's cheaper. But most of their money comes from microtransactions, and they do that by giving you the opportunity to grind, or if you want to skip that grinding process, to pay real money. So I could see a reality where this is an affordable game laden with microtransactions. I could see that possibility happening too.
It's definitely going to be at least 70. There's no world. I mean,
every game is 70 now.
I'm gonna
70, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I'm thinking to myself, like, is this going to be priced normally? I don't think it is. Honestly, it's going to be at least 80. I would be genuinely surprised if it's less than Mario Kart World. Mm-hmm. The whole like alleged like fake leaks kind of priced it at 90. I could see it being 90, although it's like, I don't know. At that point, it's kind of like lifting weights. It's like, why not just go for 100? I could see them doing that too. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like, it's. I don't know. I mean, like it's weird because it feels like the fact that it's going to be expensive as hell has been sort of a talking point for a long ass time. Mm-hmm. That I think we're all kind of primed for it to be expensive. And honestly, like when we saw the alleged kind of price leak that it's only $90, that was kind of a relief. I'm like, oh, it's only $90,
right?
So it's just like that. I feel like I'm kind of being psychologically toyed with, but. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if there's any game that's going to be priced $90 in the modern landscape, it's going to be GTA 6.
GTA is maybe not hyper specific, but a very specific. It sort of has like Minecraft pool, maybe, where they're releasing it exclusively on PS5 and Series X to begin with. And I imagine a PC release like within the year. And obviously they're not going to have a conversion where like, oh, you can get this game on PC if you bought it on console. Nobody has ever done that. There's very specific keys that have tried it, but it didn't work. So they could also work off the interpretation that if somebody has a PC, they might get it on Xbox or PlayStation and then also buy the PC version. So you can account for one, microtransactions, and two, repeat buyers that'll buy the game multiple times. So I don't think it'll be anything less than 70. I probably don't even think it will be 70. I don't really know. Obviously, I would like it for it to be cheaper than more expensive, especially if I have to buy it again, which I really hope I don't. My biggest issue with GTA Online specifically is the lack of crossplay, but the fact that they make you download BattleEye to play it on Steam on PC now, which makes it so that you can't even play it on the Steam Deck, leads me to believe that if they release online infrastructure that it will be cross-platform, because their biggest reason for not having cross-play is just because it's a lot easier to hack the game on PC, and that kind of upends their entire microtransaction system. So ideally, if there is an online infrastructure and eventually a PC version, I hope it's all the same infrastructure, because I can get away with buying it one time. I don't think I can get away with buying it a second time. The amount of times I already bought GTA 5 would make your head spin. But that is
That's also another thing, too, is I wonder if they'll do that for GTA 6, because then that could be another reason people do not get the Steam machine. Because if it's the same OS as the Steam Deck, and GTA 6 is such a system seller,
that's true.
Why would they spend $1,000 to not play one of the best, what could be one of the best games of the decade?
Mm-hmm. Twitch chat is asking, Red Dead Redemption 2 didn't have microtransactions, why GTA 6 have it? I'm talking specifically about online infrastructure, because I've seen people ask about when an online would be launched for this game, and if you're comparing it to GTA 5 took like a good year for online to launch, And even then, like, it was pretty bare bones. But something more recent, like Red Dead Redemption 2, online launched a month after Red Dead Redemption 2. And I don't think it will be within the year, like within 2026, but I wouldn't put it past Rockstar to kind of immediately boots on the ground, like put together a basic online system, just because so much of their income comes from the online infrastructure, and there's going to be a large amount of people that switch over from 5 to 6. Like, they announced that they're releasing the final update for GTA 5 online next month. You need the mansion to play the heist, which is another, technically you don't have to use microtransactions, but it's a lot easier than grinding for in-game money. So I don't think that it'll have online day one or even month one, but I think it'll be sooner than it was for GTA 5, just going off of Red Dead specifically. We've got a lot of things happening this weekend over the next couple days. I want to get a read of how long this potential direct we're going to watch. Okay, that's like 20 minutes. Okay, well, we'll jump into that then. What I was going to do was go over entertainment stuff and give my thoughts on Disclosure Day, and also tell the story that I tried seeing Toy Story 5, but then like 30 minutes into the movie, someone pulled the fire alarm. And a movie theater fire alarm is all-encompassing. Sirens will go off all around, and it'll say, like, alert, alert, evacuate the premises, there is a fire. It turns off the movie. And we ran out, and then the floor manager was like, no, it's okay. You guys can go back in. You sit back down. But the sit back down is just sitting in a room with a siren, because I guess they couldn't turn the alarm off until the fire department arrived. And I have the AMC deal, so it's not like I paid a bunch of money to see Toy Story 5. I saw it for free anyway. So I didn't want to have to wait and didn't want to deal with that, so I just went home. So I could tell you that I have seen the first 30 to 40 minutes of Toy Story 5, and hopefully I'll chip away at it over the next month or so. Maybe I'll see it in different 30-minute increments. Maybe every time I go, they will stop me. But because if we're directing our attention to the direct that we watch every week, this is a 28-minute direct, and we are about 49 minutes away from the 3-hour mark. What we have been doing over the last couple shows is our dedicated Smash roster, our Switch to Ultra Smash roster, which we cut down to 40 roster members, the most basic 40. I've been seeing a lot more videos as of late of people cutting the roster. I don't think we're trailblazers, but I think we're something else for sure. And
we are white.
That's true. They do be saying that. We have 40 characters here, and so far across 5 weeks, we have gone over 5 different character movesets. And I like to believe that in 40 weeks' time, maybe we'll know something new about a new Smash Bros. Game, but maybe that's being optimistic. Today, we are covering Kirby's moveset. Now,
oh, baby.
I do not feel anything particularly strong about Kirby's moveset. But I think last week Dan said something that this requires an overhaul. So I don't know what you have to say. What you think should change about this Kirby moveset? No pressure.
I'm going to step out for a second. I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
No
Sorry.
worries. Dan, you have the floor.
Okay, first of all, I have to say, I don't have any issues with his special moves. I think they're fine. I don't remember, for his down special, is it just that rock, or can he turn to other stuff as well?
It's other stone structures.
Okay, that's fine. I forgot if he could do that, because he could do that in the game too. So in his games as well.
Because he turns it to
So
the
that's
Breath
fine
of the
with me.
Wild chest. It's weird that they don't do as many crossovers, because that's something they could do. Like, oh, Kirby's down B, it turns into different rocks from the different Nintendo series, and they only really reference the Breath of the Wild treasure chest in his down B, in Ultimate specifically.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay, so I will say, I forget, did we do slides here or no? Because the slide is fine. I have no problem with the slide either. That's just how a slide is.
What about the dash, though? The fireball dash?
Well, no, the slide is the slide. Like, that is just what happens. Like, that's how he slides in the game. Like, that's fine. The dash is fine, too. That's also fine, because that is just one of the moves. But here's the thing. Actually, I like the neutral air, too, because that's kind of like a callback to, like, his death animation, but more like a happy
He's
thing.
one of the few melee characters that just doesn't have the sex kick, because it wouldn't make sense for his moveset.
It doesn't make sense, no. Like, my issue with Kirby is that he's such a versatile character that none of these, like, up airs, down airs,
Yeah.
jabs, up tilts. They're boring.
Yeah,
They're
what
not
this neutral B doesn't take
conductive.
into account is that also he can swallow anyone on the Smash roster, and then their neutral B becomes his neutral B.
Yes, that too. Like, yeah, I mean that's hard to like really put into like pictures.
Yeah.
But I think the point gets across. I think the issue is that it's just he's not like how do I put this? He's not a fighter in that regard. He's more of like a guy who he doesn't have these moves. He doesn't do these moves.
Yeah.
This is just the kind of stuff he does. And this is gonna sound really weird, like really weird. But like I think they should remove the Star Wand as a weapon and make that like part of his moveset as things he does.
Well,
because
here's-
at least then that makes sense.
That if we're going off of moves that he can do in every game, I think it's weird to have this be his forward aerial where he just kicks when it makes more sense for like his exhale. You know like when you do a double jump at Kirby and then you let go of the button, it shoots a little puff of air. That is in his games his neutral attack, and it isn't really represented here. Would it not make more sense for the forward air to be that little puff of air?
No, I agree. That's a good way to look at it too. I think like you have that, like do that as a little forward air. Like that's
Right.
a good forward air right there. But like there's so much like the jab, the up tilt, his body proportions don't work for this, and I don't think that it works to make it work for this. I
You
think
could
they
argue
have
the
to
jab, because it's a multi-hit, is like a reference to... Is it just Fighter is the copy ability? Because I know it becomes Karate Joe. Whatever the Fighter copy
Yes,
ability is,
but,
that
like-
multi-jab.
Yes, but like again, it's sort of like you kind of have to. They take a lot of creative liberties with that, and because of that, there's just nothing that works. That being said, you could incorporate the fighter into some of that stuff, like the throw, the grab. That's fine because he has
Right.
the suplex copy
So
ability.
do we want to
That's
do like what we
fine.
did with Mario, where for the specific moves he like changes the look, like it adds the bandana, or not the bandana, but the is it a bandana? Whatever you tie
It's a
around
bandana,
the
yeah.
fighter. Yeah, you would like
Bandana,
add that
yeah.
to the animations, because these could just be animation flourish.
Oh no, a headband. It's a headband,
Yeah,
like
headband,
a little
yeah.
headband thing.
Let's see if I have... Okay,
I think
is
that could work because honestly, there's no other like alt costumes he would have. Like just do that, and I still think the Star Wand would be the best option because that is a Kirby item. Like it's a Kirby thing. Like Ness has the yo-yo, he has the baseball bat, but the baseball bat's also an item. Like you could do that without getting rid of the Star Wand.
So,
You know what I mean?
which ones is this covering? Is this side tilt, jab, or is it for the grabs also?
No, the grab is a different one. That's him in a blue headband.
Okay.
It's weird.
So we could do jab for this, right? The jab is the same, but he also has the bandana.
You can do that for side tilt. You could do that for down tilt. Up tilt, literally just give him the Shoryuken because he could do that anyway.
Let me look into this. Kirby. Nope, spelled that wrong. Okay, that's just Ryu. Hold on. I forgot that it has both Ryu and Ken in it. Oh, like the fighter ability. Yeah, I'm struggling to find this. If I look up Kirby, no, that's Versus. I don't want that. Animation. No. There are. I mean, if we want to look at like just accompanying a different copy ability for each thing. I think we already did it for Mario's down air, or maybe we switched it back to his down special. Do we want to make the down air the drill, or does that send him too far down? Because it already has like a little drilling multi-hit ability, or a drilling multi-hit attack, rather.
That could work. I think that could work if we do that as a down, because he could do that anyway. Like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, why not have another?
Because the
be a
back
driller,
throw is
you know?
his back
well.
drop. I'm just looking at all the copy abilities now. Yeah, obviously bubble, bomb, burning is in the dash, circus, cleaning, cook. Okay, these are in alphabetical order. Crash, cutter we have there. So let's just add just the hat to it. Actually, you know what? If I look up cutter hat. Okay, no, this is again him with the Whatever, we're gonna have to use the Kirby. Okay, no, this is the Wii one. I thought it was Kirby 64. Just wearing all these hats in the animations. But do the actual moves change that much, or is it just like donning the copy ability while using the attack? Does anything here substantially change?
I'm not sure. I think it, again, we're kind of basing this all on like the fighter thing. So I think if we do want to, we can make his aerial moves drill and other things as well. Like, okay, here's an example. For example, if we wanted to change his neutral air, we couldn't make that the needle move where he kind of turns into like a needle ball kind of thing.
I do like that, yeah, because he does spin in that. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes more sense. And he uses needle like way more in post-Ultimate games. Like, it's a big part of Forgotten Land, and it's a big part of Star Allies.
I'll co-sign that.
Not Star Allies, but also Air Riders. So what is the down smash? Is like some kind of, is it like part of the Kirby dance that he does after each thing? We have ESP. We have Festival,
I don't know if it's part of the dance or it's
Fighter.
like a death animation reaction. I think it could be either or.
He should have the little. This is the bandana I was talking about. He should have this for the hammer, right? Just the beads around his head.
Yes. Yes, that's correct.
I mean, Rocky's already built into the animation. Obviously, you keep his neutral special the same, especially just add that animation. I think all the grabs are from the attack you get from Bugsy, right? Or
Yes, that's
honestly,
Bugsy.
like, do we... I understand the philosophy of having the up special be a move that sends you straight downward, because Kirby really doesn't need an upwards moving recovery. It's the same thing with like Yoshi, you know, making his up be the egg, which we changed, but making it that makes sense because he already has a multi-jump. So it's like tempting to change the high jump or the jet, but I think this is up special makes a lot more sense. But we could do jet as the up air, or maybe high jump. Wait, actually, look at this high jump image. He's like immediately punching upwards. This might make more sense.
Oh, yes, that's a good one. High jump is a good one to do there.
Yeah. Keep that there. So what do we know about the actual? These actual smashes are just
here's
fighter,
another thing.
right?
If you don't want another drill for down air, you could use the ball power up, where it's just like he turns into a ball and he kind of like bounces really hard on the ground for down air.
Down air?
Yeah, if you don't want to do a drill, we could do drill. I'm just saying that.
I like the drill just like this same animation, but instead the head is on the bottom and the drill spins. I mean, we sort of did this with Mario's moveset too. I like the idea of like the moves are the same, but you could see him utilizing all these different copy abilities. Even though Kirby's main gimmick is using his neutral special to steal everyone else's neutral special using his copy ability. Do we change anything about the regular smashes, up smash, side smash, down smash, or is that just all fighter?
The only thing I could think of is like maybe doing other like similar other copy abilities kind of that might be a little bit more beefy. He just kind of does something kind of inspired by that, but
yeah.
I still think
do, like,
again, I
weapons,
still
like,
think
grab the parcel and throw it up that way.
I was gonna say you could do the
sorry.
umbrella, you could do the star wand. Like I think there's different options.
Poison, sand.
it'd be kind of cool to have like a projectile smash attack with the star wand or something.
Yeah.
I could back that up.
What about like a down smash where he splashes the sand? I just saw the sand copy ability and I don't know what it's from, but I feel like that has more of like. So if we are putting the star rod in here, where would it ideally go? If it's not,
I would say
maybe the
side smash, but
side smash.
Yeah,
okay,
the side
just
smash.
forward. Okay.
Yeah, like Neff did with the baseball bat.
Oh, so does it still shoot? Does it like Master Sword still shoot the star out?
Maybe, but maybe because it's not the actual item,
could-
it's a shorter range.
Okay.
Like how Neff's baseball bat isn't as powerful as the actual baseball bat.
Right. But I mean, like, the star rod, like, not only is it, like, a melee weapon, but it also shoots out a star as a projectile.
They do that with Mega Man. I could see them. I mean, there might be an issue with balance. Like, maybe it wouldn't be good for Kirby's kit, though. I mean, honestly, I don't think Kirby's
hasn't been
kit,
good
like,
in a
really
very
ever
long
been that
while.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
so, but, like, I could see it, like, working
You
thematically.
do still see the bias a little bit because, like, I think this is why we're working with the interpretation that, like, every move is a reference for the other characters, because it is true with Kirby. Like, Kirby can do all of these in the Source games, and I understand why that is. Yeah, suplex. Okay, suplex is the one, right? So we'll do suplex for
suplex.
the grabs and yeah. That is literally the up throw.
It is. I mean, yeah, just give him the thing.
Mm-hmm. The little design flourish. I mean, for the most part, I think everything else can.
And then also give him the thing for back throw as well, because that's also suplex.
Mm-hmm. Do we? I think forward throw is too, actually. And we might as well do it for the grab. Do we've changed everything else. Do we do anything with the back air and the up tilt?
What is the?
It's kind of
what did we do for up tilt?
We didn't do anything for up tilt. It's like
up tilt. Let me think here.
Wait.
Okay,
what about the? Oh, okay. You go first.
No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I just have the. It's not gonna be nearly as bad as Simon, but we do have a whip.
That could work because then you do. Oh,
tilt.
that works really well actually. Yeah.
And then back air. Do we want to do wing? Because he can like. That's kind of what he does in the game. He's able to fly and then wing.
You do the wing, and then he kind of shoots backwards. That's perfect.
Well, this is basically all of his moves. The question is though.
The last thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna. I think we're talking about the same thing. I was gonna get into the final smash.
I was gonna get into the final smash too. I want to hear what you have to say before
I just want to get away from the Ultra Sword because it's so. It's hyper specific to Return to Dreamland, and it doesn't really represent Kirby now. So you could do like the friendship wheel from Star Allies maybe, and that's a way to represent. I like the idea of the final smash being the friendship wheel, and the other three in the wheel are just randomly generated Kirby enemies, so that way you can rep them all. Like you have different partners, helpers rather. Like you could have Karate Joe and Rocky in there, and they all link arms and do that. But there's also been, games like Forgotten Land and Air Riders that have added. Well, what's his? Because his super in Air Riders is just the Ultra Sword still, right?
Yeah. I'm getting tired of the Ultra Sword. So here's my pitch. Mm-hmm. I think we go for a Robobot angle. I think he gets in that giant fucking mech suit, and he fucking.
Think about when we do these. We did our Link move set before Ocarina of Time Remake was properly announced, so that was probably going to factor into it. So, maybe we could be like, oh, we won't rep Robobot, and then maybe all of a sudden they announce a remaster of Robobot. It's hard to tell. It's the reason or not the reason, but fortunately we're doing Star Fox next week, so we can base it off of what we glean from that Star Fox game. But, so you're saying Robobot should be the final smash?
Yeah. Now, what you do with the Robobot could be different. Like, you could just make it the sword again and just make it a Robobot sword, because I think that's better than the Ultra Sword, personally. Mm-hmm. You could also, if you want to do, really funny, you can make it the Jet Robobot, and then just have them, if there's some in close proximity, they're kind of, flung into the air, mm-hmm. and then the Jet, kind of shoots something massive at them.
I'm trying to think of what he even does in Forgotten Land. He goes mouthful mode. He eats an entire meteor or something. Switchy, how do you feel about this final smash?
One thing I think I'd be kind of down with is the triple deluxe thing. I forget what it's called, but where he just kind of just becomes the hyper or whatever. He sucks way more than usual. He just sucks at a level unforeseen.
So bad, yeah.
He sucks so bad. No, I could be down with that, because I feel I think I generally prefer when final smashes are sort of the character at their fullest potential, or at a new magnitude of power, but it's still something that kind of exemplifies their identity as a character. So I guess I don't really have a problem. I'm not really passionate about this, but I just think it's worth considering. Mm-hmm. Because, it's Kirby normally, swallows things up, and this power just makes him do it so much more stronger and just way bigger and larger. It seems worth consideration, but I don't know. I could go with Robobot. I think on some level, I guess I still also like the really specific kind of power ups. I mean, I still like Chef the Kawasaki kind of thing, Kirby when Kirby would eat you.
It's also that now that that's represented in Air Riders too, because that just is Chef Kawasaki's move. It's weird that I understand why Sakurai made Smash that the Ultra Sword is just the Kirby thing, but I feel it's never been that intrinsic to Kirby, because initially it just is a reference to The Legend of Zelda, realistically.
Yeah, it's just Kirby with that pastiche, mm-hmm. And I don't know. I mean, I think I feel like Kirby at his fullest form, or most Kirby, like, isn't really him with the big sword, the hero sword. You know what I mean? It's just that's why, like, low key, I kind of agree with you guys that I'd rather have something else.
Well, it seems like it's the same philosophy with Mario, that just it would behoove them to add the design flourish of, like, having the different copy abilities, because that is so much. It's the same thing of adding the power-ups for Mario. Is like, that is so much a part of his games that isn't really factored in outside of, like, the Fire Flower, or obviously Kirby's main mechanic is stealing everyone else's neutral bees. We have to take that into account. But I believe that is a very efficient run of Kirby. And this is perfect timing, too. It means we can jump into our weekly Nintendo Direct. Is a little segment we do on the show where we watch back all the Nintendo Directs in order. To be fair, there was a Sega Direct that happened between the last one and this one, but it's only in Japanese, and it's also only a Sega Direct. Normally, I'd ask if we're ready, but we simply do not have any more time. So we're watching Nintendo Direct, January, February, March, April, May 17th, 2013. Deep into 2013.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
And thank you for joining us today.
Woo.
This is Satoru Iwata from Nintendo. In this installment of Nintendo Direct,
I wonder if
which
they ever
we
put
are
annotations
broadcasting
on any of these.
simultaneously
I don't think we've seen
worldwide,
it. I have my plug-in
we would
on that
like
should
to
show
deliver
them.
directly.
Maybe I would be surprised if they do it for, like, some
That
links
will
to
be launching
videos about
There's
about
one
games.
we checked out on
honestly,
one of these, and it just took us
Many
to,
of
like,
you are looking forward
Nintendo.com.
to E3 in
Yeah.
June.
Oh,
We
they're
are
gearing up for
preparing
E3.
a separate Nintendo Direct that is focused on future Wii U contents that will
Okay, question.
air around the
Is
time
this year's
of
E3? And yeah, the E3 Direct.
Together
Oh,
with
shit,
the
that's
news
next week.
that we
Oh,
will share
fuck.
with you today.
That's gonna be a big thing.
These should help you
Because that's,
to
I mean,
understand
that's E3
more
2013.
about
I know what happens
what
there.
is
Smash
on
Bros,
the horizon
yay!
for
Anyway, we don't know
Nintendo.
that yet. Could be anything.
So
I
let's
really hope
begin.
there's no news between this week and next week. So we can
First,
just talk about Star
I
Fox
have
and
a
watch
game.
that
We can
direct.
say Star Fox sucks, and we can, like,
Yeah.
Well,
We will
Delta
know
Rune
how
comes
much
out
GTA
tomorrow,
is.
so maybe we'll
Mario
talk
and
about
Sonic
that.
series.
That should be a
Yeah,
whole
I'm
thing.
gonna do
The
my
upcoming
best.
Olympic
I'll
Winter
tell the
Games
people that watch
will
the
take
regular
place
streams is
in a
that
city
I
called
normally
Sochi.
every year do a big
Do you
Evo
know where
a stream
this
weekend
is?
where I watch all of Evo weekend.
According
And
to the world
this
map,
chowder video, I'm
it's
trying to put it
around
together,
here
and I did my best today,
in
but I'm
southern
crunching
Russia.
the numbers here, and the way my
Sochi
July is
is
going,
known
I
as
can
a resort
either
town facing
do a really
the
long
Black Sea.
Deltarune stream tomorrow after
While
Tomodachi,
Russia
or I
is
can do
often known
Evo,
as a
but I
place
can't do
of
both, and I'm
extreme
leaning
cold,
more towards
Sochi
Deltarune.
is relatively
And just
warm.
not doing Evo this year.
I
You know, we'll
thought
play it by
it
ear.
would be
But I can do
much
the thing that people are
colder
doing with Tomodachi
until
Life. That
I
I can
looked
pretend
into
I'm
it.
doing it for moral reasons,
But
and I'm
that's
actually
enough
boycotting because
geography
Evo is
for
in
now.
Saudi Arabia this year.
Let's have a look at
Had a good run.
this is a
Whoa,
Wii U
look at those
game.
graphics.
And as you can see, the
I'd
graphics
like to get my hands on some
Oh,
of
dude,
this.
shadows coming from behind.
are
Shadows coming from behind.
in the
And you can
series.
take so yeah, they just did the Sega
The
Direct.
characters are
I wonder if this
detailed,
was just featured
and
in the Sega
environment
Direct.
effects
'Cause it's
such
weird
as
that, like, they had a
snow and
specific-
ice are
Let me
realistically
check on this
presented.
real quick, actually.
Additionally,
It wasn't
the
uploaded by
game
Nintendo of
uses
America.
the
I guess
Remote
if it
Flash
uses the direct
controller,
term, it had to have been
so it
distributed.
allows for very intuitive
But like, what
gameplay.
Sega games are coming out
In
for the
addition
Wii U
to
in
returning
2013
events,
other than this?
such as skiing and
This is a
snowboarding,
When did that
Sochi, right?
Sonic
Is
racing
this-
game come out? The one with the Team Fortress 2 characters.
and an event
That was before
that is
this,
new
I
for
think.
the
That was
Oh, okay.
360 era.
2014
I think it might have been
Olympic
2012, yeah,
Games.
or somewhere around.
Snowboarding, slope
Oh, 1080. That's a tease.
Some of the
So
events
this is Winter
utilize
Olympics,
the Wii
which
U
means it's
gamepad as
14.
well.
Where were
For
they in
example,
14?
in curling,
Sochi, I think.
player must
Okay.
draw line directly
Because
on
I
the
will
ice
say
rink
that the
displayed on the
original,
gamepad
I think that
to
these
share
games are
their
really
strategy
interesting, and you
with
know,
the
when
other
you have
players.
them, you don't really think about it.
In the
But when you don't
biathlon
have them,
event,
you do miss them a
which
little
is a
bit,
combination
especially with
of
the recent like
cross-country
Sonic
skiing
resurgence
and
and new
rifle
characters.
shooting.
Holy shit, he's got a
The
gun!
player must switch
That
between
I
the remote
He's gonna
never-
flash
take it to Crimea and annex Crimea.
Oh, I see. Well, there's
In
oh
addition
Delfino
to the
Plaza.
official
They got
event
everything.
of the
That I
Olympic
never
Games.
I
had
know
the
that was in
original
Sochi.
Mario
The game
vs. Sonic
also
Olympic game, but I
offers
played it at my friend's
what
house,
we are
and that
calling
was
dream
realistically
events
probably
as
my
well,
first exposure to
where
most of those Sonic
stages
characters.
are
Because like,
built
how
in
else
the
would I know
world
who
of
Vector
Sonic and
is
Mario,
in the modern day
and
if not
you can
playing it
use
in a Mario
dynamic
game?
moves
I'm like, yeah, you know,
not
Mario
possible
Sonic, he throws a
in real
javelin
life.
and his best friend is Vector. I know.
We also
And
have a mixed
I had the
event,
Winter Olympics,
which
2010 Winter
combines
Olympics. I had that
sports such
specifically
as
on the
skiing,
DS, and there was a
snowboarding,
hockey mode in
skating,
it. Oh,
and
this is just like
bobsleigh
Sonic Racing
in one
Transformed.
race.
Wow.
In this
There was a
event,
hockey
you
mode
can
in it that I played
experience
that
a race
religiously and
that
like
is
no
not
other mode.
possible
Like I only
in
played the
actual
hockey
events
mode.
at
And then I
Olympic
think I
Games.
had the
Please stay
2014
tuned for launch
Wii
timing
game,
and more details.
but I
on the
didn't
game.
have the 20. Wait, no, it would have been 20. I had the 2012 Wii game, and then I didn't
I
have the
have some
2014
additional
Winter
information
one. But I
on
do miss
Sonic
it.
the
Last one was
Hedgehog
2020,
that I would
right?
like
And they
to
released it in
share with you.
2021 due to extenuating
Today,
circumstances.
I'd like to announce
I think so.
that we have entered into a worldwide partnership with Sega on the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise.
Oh,
The next
right.
game in the series.
This is why Sonic
my
Boom
God.
is
I
the
thought that
way
was
it is.
2014. I'm gonna be honest. I think I misremembered.
Well, this is
action
Lost
adventure
World.
platforming game
And then
that will launch
The deal with Sonic Boom
exclusively
is that
on
they
Wii U
didn't know
and
they had to
Nintendo
make
Oh,
it for
Sonic
the Wii
Boom was
U.
20.
We'll have
was
more
15.
details on this
Or
game
14?
prior to E3.
I think it was 14.
While
Yeah.
we have already shared
They
two
made the
announcements
game
from
and it was
Sega
already,
today.
you know, it's a licensed
There is
game.
one
It's already
more
pretty
we would like
shit.
to
And then they're
cover
told like
before
last
we
minute
move
like, oh,
on
this
to
needs to
other
this is a Wii
topics.
U exclusive because we signed a
We
deal
will
with
soon be
Nintendo.
releasing
So they have to like
additional
get in the
Sega
front end
Game
and
Gear
try and make it
titles
run on the
for
Wii
the
U.
Nintendo 3DS Virtual Console
Which is
tabs.
only part of why it is the way it is.
All of the games you see here will be releasing soon.
They got Sonic Drift 2.
If you aren't familiar with the
You can't
Sega
even play the
Game
Game Gear on
system
Nintendo Switch Online.
or its software, we already have a few of its titles available for purchase in the Nintendo eShop for
Triple
Nintendo
trouble.
3DS, and look forward to offering more soon.
I mean, this
I'll
is kind
be
of a
back shortly
proto
to
Steam
share more
Deck because
information.
the Game Gear
But
was
now,
more
here's
powerful than the Game
more news
Boy
from
and was
the
fully in
Nintendo
color.
Treehouse.
But it also
And
cost
8
like,
up battery
yeah,
power
it was
like
like
a
8 batteries
motherfucker.
and also
Thank you, Mr. Iwata.
Didn't have
And hi,
Pokemon
everyone.
on it.
I'm JC from the Nintendo Treehouse, and I'd like to share
JC
some news with you on
Rodrigo.
products hitting North
It's a
America
sick name,
soon.
actually.
The
It's a shame
first
we never
item
saw
I'd
this
like to
guy
discuss has to do with The Legend of Zelda: Oracle of Ages and The Legend of Zelda: Oracle
I guess
of
it
Seasons,
never really changed. We
coming
have these
to the
roasted
Nintendo
glasses
3DS
that, like,
Virtual
the
Console
eShop
service
was
on
never
May
as bad as
30th.
Nintendo Switch
While these games
Online.
can be played
But they
individually,
are dedicating
when
a
played
lot of
together,
time in these
these
directs
games
towards these
offer an
retro
ultimate
games and
adventure,
announcing
not
them as if
possible
they're
when the
new
games are experienced on the road.
The last time they did something like that was
The
with
games feature a
Earthbound,
link
right?
system that unlocks access
in the
to
last
additional
Direct?
content that you won't otherwise
Or
have
No,
even
I
the
mean
last
like when
time
they
they
did like
ever-
a specific
different
announcement for a
final boss.
specific game on NSL.
In the eShop,
Like
these
in a
games will carry a
direct?
price
There might have been
of
some other
Yeah.
examples.
Did
No,
they
they
do
did it with
it?
Earthbound Zero. They did it with
Plus, we
Earthbound Zero
want
now that I
as
think
many
about it.
players
Remember,
as
like they did a whole
Yeah,
thing
that's
with
what I'm saying,
Microsoft
Earthbound
E2
Zero.
showed up.
Great additional content.
It's like, bro,
For the first 3
E-Toy!
Didn't they
weeks
do it with
following their
GoldenEye?
launch,
'Cause that was like a
we'll be
big deal that
conducting a
came
special
to
That might have been it too.
Oh
'cause-
yeah, they
yeah,
did do
like,
it with GoldenEye.
$4.99
Yeah, that was the other one.
so they occasionally do it. I think it's
This
always
means
when
you can
like
get
a
both
game
games
that's been
for less than
historically
$10.
asked for or considered
So,
difficult.
we hope you
What
check
was
them
the
I
out.
was just watching a video the other day that brought up how like it was probably
Mario
really
and Donkey
annoying to
Kong,
like
made
license
from the movie,
GoldenEye for
launched
Switch
earlier
Online.
this month
Yeah.
in the Nintendo eShop for Nintendo
Well, that's why
3DS.
it's also really funny that like you
We've already
hear
shown the
development,
variety and
it's the
depth
same thing
the
of like,
game's
okay,
puzzle
how
modes
long
and
in
mini-games
development was this
offer.
actually? Was this
But
just a plan?
we're
The
confident
concept of having
the puzzles
James Bond
created
in
by
Smash
players
Bros.
and
Melee
fans
is like
will
the
keep you
idea
coming
of
back
doing
to this
Ultimate and
game
everyone
for a
is here.
very
It's like,
long
okay, well,
time.
which James Bond do you bring
Here's
back?
how you'll be creating your puzzles.
Also,
They
I'm
kind of
getting-
dodged bullet with
creation
that one. I'm
is
not gonna
simple
lie.
I'm
and
getting
intuitive.
direct correspondence. from
Drag and
across
drop
the
level
pond
elements from the
nowadays.
tray on the right to the grid on the left.
The UK
Sizes
currently
range from
doesn't
3x3 to 7x7
a James Bond,
grids,
a
and
Doctor Who,
any size
or
in
a Prime
between, like
Minister
4x6.
for the first time in history.
You can select from
And
all
I'm
the
more
tiles
sad
in the
about one
game
of those
to
things.
create your own unique layouts. From spike pits, shy guys,
See, this
or keys
is
The
to
James
unlock
Bond?
the goal.
Shop game.
There's plenty to
But it's
choose.
shop game.
There's plenty to
But
choose
it is.
from.
It might as well be.
You can test out your level and tweak it until you're happy.
Wait, is this the one that was an
This
eShop game, but
is
like
just
you could buy
one
it
example
physically,
of
but
what you
buying
could
it
try to
physically
do.
just gave you a code for the game, or was that a
Once you're
different
done,
mini
I think so.
mod?
Yeah. No,
Share
I think that's
online.
it.
Your level
all
will be viewable
eShop,
by
all
the
the way
public
down.
and available
But yeah,
for anyone
what
to
was
download,
what was
play,
the last
and
GameCube
rate.
release we got? It was like XD
There
Gale
are
Darkness,
4
right?
ways to
That
find
was during
levels
the
created
Pokemon
by
Think so.
presentation. And then we
You can
got
search for
Donkey
a
Kong
random
64.
level. Search for top levels of the week,
And Virtual Boy. Don't
The
forget
most popular
Virtual
levels of
Boy.
Yeah, but that was
Boy.
before Donkey Kong
or
64.
find levels
No, we
that
got
are
more
either by
Virtual
those
Boy games,
from
too.
your
Oh,
Nintendo 3DS friend
right.
list.
I forgot that they didn't just release them all
Once
at
you
once.
play a
Okay, this is
user-created level,
ridiculous.
you can favorite it if you thought it was fun or
I
interesting.
feel like I ask this every time, but
more
are there, like,
favorites a level
substantial
gets, the
N64
more hearts it will
absences,
earn.
Or are we like, is that a
3
beefy
is the
library?
maximum.
Bomberman,
level with
Mischief
3 hearts,
Makers. That's all I can
you
think
can
of.
It's pretty decent, at least with the
Oh,
first
Conquer.
party stuff.
Tried
Right,
and
Conquer.
enjoyed it. User-created
Is
levels are a
Banjo-Tooie on it?
great
I know
way to
Banjo-Kazooie is.
Yeah,
extend
both
Mario
Banjos
and
are on it.
Donkey Kong minis on the move.
Oh, Diddy Kong
And
Racing
as
is
you've
also
seen,
another one that's
it's
not
easy
there.
just to jump right
That
in
should be there.
and start creating.
A suction cup
We're
away.
very excited to see what kinds of levels
It's kind
you
of
can
crazy.
come
I
up
can't
with.
wait for people to
Speaking of Donkey
start
Kong,
playing Diddy
as
Kong
we
Racing and
revealed in the
realizing,
last
wait a minute,
Nintendo Direct,
this game
Donkey Kong Country
is not
returns
very good.
3D
What they're
for
missing
Nintendo
out on is
3DS,
all the touch
This is some
controls on the
millennial
DS
flop,
version.
bro.
for you to unlock.
I know, right?
Whoa, the
You can unlock
seven
these
Oh,
levels
speaking of
flowers.
Diddy Kong,
This is Deltarune
where you'll be
Chapter
able to
5, I
use
think.
new items to help you through the levels, and
Yeah, I think
in
on Wednesday
original
after
mode,
Tomodachi,
where
I'm
you
just
can
gonna
play
like
them
stream the
with
rest
the challenge
of
of the original
the night.
version.
I wonder if
of
I
the
can
game.
get the chapter done that night. Because
Each
normally
of the 8 new levels in
I'm
Cloud
not.
Gateway
Last
are
year,
based
I've only.
on one of the
What's
8
weird is that
worlds
like I
from the
became a
original game
Deltarune
and contain
enjoyer
challenges
because I
that
started
you'll
playing in
only see in
2024.
this
The reason I
version.
don't have the same
For
pessimism
example,
is that like
Level
to
9
me,
1 is
Deltarune
based
has
on
been an
World 1
every year
Jungle.
thing because I
Level
started
9
playing in
2,
2024.
It's based on World 2.
But I played it in 25, but I only got
These
really,
levels
really
introduce
into it
new mechanics
like after
like
I played the
platforms that
chapters.
force you to move
So
at a
this is
faster
for the
pace,
first time
or
that like I actually
large
care
drops of
about
tar
spoilers
falling
and
from the
stuff. But I
ceiling,
kind of
or
want to
even
just run through it in
giant
that
rotating
day, get a whole
stone
night to
gears
it.
that can alter the level
And then I gotta
itself.
hopefully get this video done.
The game launches at retail and in the Nintendo eShop in just a
So
few
there's also
days
supposed
on
to be
May
a very
24th.
special watch party
And I hope
Thursday
that
night.
you're
and
all excited to
I
play
do
it.
want to go, but I can't.
Animal
see how it
Crossing
goes.
New Leaf will be in stores and in the Nintendo eShop in
Whoa.
just a few short
Finally
weeks.
to the
Geek alert.
west.
We've shared
Hello.
details on the game in previous Nintendo Direct videos, but
This
there's
is true.
so
And a Japanese
much to the
Direct that we
game
didn't watch.
that we've created a video series that goes into detail on many aspects of the game.
Is this a part
In
of the
these
direct or
videos,
outside the
the
direct?
Nintendo Treehouse localization
I think it's
team gets
outside.
together
Oh,
to
the
reminisce
Treehouse,
about the
right.
series and this new game.
Treehouse used to be like
Today,
a year-round thing.
We've released an episode talking about
I
the
was
ways
surprised they
players
even
can
did it with
connect
the
in
recent
Animal
direct,
Crossing
even
New
though I
Leaf.
guess it is like pseudo E3.
Let's take a look.
If you and
It
I
was
want
a,
to play over
the,
Wi-Fi,
the
we
Treehouse
have to
hasn't
have
really
our
been that
system
exciting in
signed
a
up.
while.
So it's
'cause,
not
like,
a
last year was like
software-based
Metroid
friend
Prime
code system.
4,
It's the hardware.
and this year was
It's
just
on the
more
hardware
Star
side.
Fox.
So once we've established that, you and I can set up a time, and I can open my gate, and you can come play in my
Is
town.
all this true? Or are they lying
Probably,
to
at
us?
least me personally, the one I'm most looking forward to is just going out to the island and.
Did it go up to
those
4
tours.
players?
These videos will be available on our YouTube
Yeah.
channel and in the Nintendo eShop on a regular basis leading up to the game's launch. So I hope you can check them out
give
to
me one
learn
sec.
more about this
Leading up
massive
to the
game.
game's launch. That's in like 14
Also,
days from now.
If you check Street Pass Me Plaza,
Whoa,
you may see a
hold
new
on.
Animal Crossing panel for Puzzle Swap.
Okay.
You may also want to check Swap Note for a special game-themed
How do I-
Oh,
message.
Did
Swap
every
Note.
We
individual
hope
game
you're
have
as
its own
excited for
no,
June
they didn't
9th
release
as
the
we
puzzles
are.
with the games. They
We're
just
now a little
released them,
more
like,
than a month
intermittently.
away from Wario's next
Yeah.
great business venture. This time,
Oh shit,
it's coming to
Wario?
Wii U in the form of Game & Wario.
That's
Oh,
not
Clearly,
Wario.
I
a
thought it was
business
WarioWare
genius like
Gold. You got me
Wario
excited
knows
for
how
a
to
second.
promote his game.
I'm like,
and
I know
sure
WarioWare
he's
Gold
got
came
more
out in
great ideas up
2017,
his
but
sleeve
maybe-
that you'll be
maybe
hearing
there's
about
hope.
soon. But today, I wanted to show you a few more examples of how Game & Wario introduces new styles of play that flow between the gamepad
We want to
and
show
the
you a Game
television.
and Wario kicks your
Island is a
ass.
multiplayer game that can be
Pisses
played
you
with 2 to
off.
5 players, but only requires the gamepad.
Oh.
The concept is simple, but mastering it is where the challenge lies. You and your friends will take turns using the gamepad touchscreen as a
But what if I
slingshot
don't
to
have
launch groups
friends?
of
What
little
was his name,
creatures
DJ?
called Franks onto islands in the sea to earn
Who?
points.
The guy
You can also try to launch your Franks in a way that
Oh,
knocks
I
your
was not
friends'
listening to what
Franks
his
off the
name
island.
was. I was
Oh.
trying
So
to
you
be
can try
like,
to
what
get
if
the
we don't
Franks
have
out,
friends,
get the
DJ?
Franks
Game
out,
and
it's
Wario.
What's
something
then?
that
What am
anyone
I
can
meant to
play
do?
and can quickly
Suffer
lead to
without a new video
round
game?
after round of good-natured competition as you try to
remember when
out-Frank
Wario
your
games
friends.
used to be fun?
The Ninja
Then they
Twins,
ruined it when
Kat
they got
and
removed.
Anna, are also back. This
Nothing ever
time
came of
with
that,
a whole new puzzle game called
I didn't really
Patchwork.
believe it. The person who was like
It's a
behind
true
the
patchwork of puzzle
Spyro
pieces
and
that will challenge you
Rayman leaks
visually
or just
and
early announcements
test your
saying
pattern
that, like,
recognition
there's
skills
also something in the works
as you use
for
the gamepad
Wario,
touchscreen
but
to
I
place
can't
overlapping
imagine somebody
large
who
puzzle
has, like,
pieces in
third-party
just the
sources
right
also
way
has
to
Nintendo
fill in
sources.
the
like,
entire
it's likely,
puzzle.
but I don't think it's.
Use the gamepad
I think it-
touchscreen to
it's
complete
not
the challenges
impossible.
the
It's
girls
probably
give out to
unlikely.
create
No,
a
you're not wrong.
variety
I
of
do
new
think
figures.
it's definitely a weird like. Well, they said that it just might not be ready yet. Though also at the
Yeah.
same time,
Kung Fu
you know, who knows?
is a unique motion control
Insiders are saying that
split
Half-Life 3
perspective
hasn't
auto
been
jump
canceled.
platformer. But what
See, that's the
exactly
only
does
thing.
all
That's why
that
I've been
mean?
keeping tabs on the Steam machine. Now I really
You
hope
take on
it
the
is an
role
ex-
of
not
young
that I wanted it
Cricket,
to
a
be
student
an
of martial
exclusive, I
arts
wanted it to,
being
like, sell
tested
the
by his
console.
master. You must guide young Cricket through the course on the
People
TV
don't have
screen
one
as he
of these
continually
things,
hops on his
I'm
I'm a little worried
But
what
if
the
you
Steam
only watch the
frame is
TV,
gonna be.
you may land in a sticky situation.
Probably
While the TV
more,
offers a
'cause the
straight
Valve
ahead view of
index
the
was
course,
already
the
1,000.
gamepad offers a top-down
Jesus,
view,
it was?
showing
That's-
which
Yeah.
pits to jump into and which
Or like
ones to
900
avoid.
something.
So you'll need to pay attention to both screens as you
That's
try
a
to jump your
business
way
expense,
through the
though.
course and fill up
I gotta
on
use
dumplings.
that more considering I bought it
After
for that
all,
one video. And then never
everyone
really
knows the
used it
secret of
again.
good kung fu is
Wait
keeping
for
your belly full.
the Adult Swim video, right?
No, for the viral spread of Gimmick Horror
Those
Games
are just a
video.
few of the levels from
Oh,
a
I
few
thought
of the
you tried
games
getting-
Wario
oh,
and
you
the
tried to
team
use
are
it for the
bringing
Rick
to
and
Wii
Morty
U.
game.
Right,
which
and it
never
just
worked.
didn't work.
The game launches on June 23rd and carries a suggested retail price of $39.99,
suggested
making it a
retail
great
price,
value
meaning that
for
it's
all the great
inappropriate.
content and variety of gameplay it includes.
There should be like a
For more
a
details
suggestion
about the
rating on
game,
Game & Wario.
head over to iwataasks.nintendo.com for an in-depth interview between Mr. Iwata and the developers.
and
Speaking
Wario
of Mr. Iwata,
himself.
let's go back to him for
Yeah,
Sit
some
down
Wario. I
with
want
the
to hear what
man.
Wario has to say.
Resident Evil Revelations,
Huh?
which originally
Whoa,
released
okay, that's
on
a-
Nintendo 3DS
That's a
last
very
is headed
hard
to
cut
Wii U
transition.
soon with updated
She's
graphics,
going to shoot
unique
Wario.
control using the game.
Wait, did
Out of
this
his
ever
misery.
release on
And
Wii U? I
new
don't
game
remember this
content.
releasing on Wii U.
I
I
thought
know there was
Revelation-
a
Wii U
3DS
version
port.
Yeah, I
the
thought
game
Revelations was
in
the
a new
3DS game.
difficulty mode called
3DS and
Inferno.
PSP.
I'm gonna
Enemies
look
and
this up now,
items
if this ever
are
released.
placed in new location, and even for those that played the
3DS
game
game.
on Nintendo 3DS,
Right?
I know
this
it was the
will
3DS.
feel like a totally different experience. Also,
says it
Capcom
released on
has
Wii U.
added
I
the
mean,
popular
I'll
characters
take your word for it.
Hank
Is that what we're
and
looking at right
Rachel
now, or is this the
to
3DS
the
version?
action-focused
This is the
raid
Wii U
mode.
version.
There are also new controls using the gamepad,
Yeah, like how
while
he said,
using the
gamepad.
TV as the main screen
The
without
gamepad?
interrupting
Stoked about
gameplay.
it. This fucking
Players
guy,
can
this fucking
use
freak
the
loves the
gamepad to
gamepad.
display the map and change items
The
on the
rumors
touch
I've
screen
heard is that
so that
although
you
he said
can
it wasn't
immerse
his idea
yourself
that
in the
Air
world
Riders was
of
offered
Resident
to,
Evil
to
without
Sakurai as
interrupting
like
your
a
game
little
progress.
peace offering because he
You
had
can
worked
also play
on
the full game
Smash
with
Bros
just the
for
gamepad
like a decade in a
off-TV
row
mode.
because Ultimate's very clearly built on
or
and
play
immediately follows
with the
development
Wii U
after
controller.
the Wii U version.
The
And
game
that was like
is
one of
Miiverse
Iwata's
compatible
last
as
tasks
well,
for Sakurai
so
was to
you
do
can
Smash
enjoy
4.
unique
So he took
gameplay
it very
features
personally with Smash
such
Ultimate.
as death message and
But that's the
feature voice.
I didn't bring this up earlier.
The game is
that
launching
when it comes to
in
these
stores
fan-made
and
rosters
in
or
the
fan-made
Nintendo
anything with
eShop
Smash
on
Bros.
May
That-
21st.
Oh man, what was it? It was a
We
hyper-specific
recently
thing.
launched
Oh yeah,
a
a lot of people when they're
downloadable demo
building their
version
rosters
in the Nintendo
will base
eShop.
them off of recent
So, I hope
releases. Like they'll be
you
like,
can try
oh,
it
you could
out.
have Ditto from Pokemon Pokopia
Now,
in it.
I have more information
I-
to share with you about
If there is a new Smash game and it's
Super
anywhere
Luigi U.
soon, I don't think it'll
This
feature any
downloadable
Switch 2
content
characters. I think it'll be an
for New
amalgamation
Super
of the
Mario
Switch.
Brothers U
It will at the
symbolizes
most have a
the
different
year
Donkey
of
Kong
Luigi.
design. But
Which
I
You don't
don't
think that
it's
they're gonna have a
throughout
Drag X Drive
2014.
representative?
I don't think so. Because like
Since
Ultimate's
Mario does
cool,
not appear in
and
the
like
game,
you know, Ultimate has
players can enjoy
Incineroar,
multiplayer by playing
Byleth
as Luigi,
eventually.
Blue Toad,
Oh no, not Byleth.
Yellow Toad,
just
and
Incineroar really
Nabbit.
represents the. Oh, this
Some
is the
of
first
you may
playable
not
Nabbit,
know
right?
the Nabbit
Forgot that we didn't already know
character.
this.
So let me refresh your memory.
How do you feel about this Nabbit mode in the game?
In New
It's
Super
nice
Mario
for little
Brothers
kids.
U, Nabbit
I like Nabbit.
But
Yeah.
It's nice for little babies who need their
I think
diapers
it's
and their binky.
cowardly. I think if
House.
kids beat the
and
game with Nabbit, they
players
didn't beat
would
the game
chase
at all.
him in different stages.
There was a
This
weird
time
period of
around,
time where like
you
this
can
and a Link
actually
Between
play
Worlds
as
came out at the same
Nabbit.
time, and like, is it
Nabbit
Ravio? Is his
has
name? Is like an
different
incredibly
Yeah,
similar
Ravio,
character to
Ravio or
Nabbit.
something.
Oh yeah, you're right.
His speed and
It is
jump
weird how
are
it,
the
that just
same
kind of
as
lined
the
up.
others.
Yeah,
But
because
he
you know,
cannot
spoilers, but
power up,
Ravio is
even
like the
if
Dark
he
World's
collects
version of the
items.
hero. So what does this mean
Instead,
about Nabbit?
He won't take damage
Because he's not a
when he
rabbit.
touches
He's
enemies.
like a guy under there, probably.
Nabbit
He's got
He's
Mario
only
shoes.
available as
That's
a
because
playable
he's a
character
Toad
in multiplayer gameplay.
flat around
So
on a
I forget, is
Please
Nabbit
big
in
ass bullet bill.
World?
2D
Mario Kart World?
gameplay to be challenged.
Yeah, well, not playable. Wait, is playable? Yes,
I don't think he
playable.
is. You chase him.
Yeah, you
I
can
thought,
play
wait,
now in Mario Kart
Yeah,
World.
you can play as
I
Nabbit.
thought you chased him. I didn't think
You
it
can
could
do
You
both.
can chase him too.
In the
Yeah.
Nintendo
And the
eShop
sizes are
on
way off.
June 20th.
That's
As we
June.
mentioned before,
That's June.
the game offers 82 updated
That's this
courses,
month.
unique
Exactly.
Luigi
Soon as
gameplay,
June.
and an additional playable
Man, when's
character in
Ocarina of
Navi.
Time 3D coming out?
It's a completely different experience from New Super Mario
right?
Bros. U.
I think we need another Ocarina
For
of Time
this game,
remake.
I
I
think we should get
understand
them every
that
15
some of
years.
you may want to
Well,
play
because
New
3D
make
was
every,
only
like,
like
year.
13 years after
even
the
if
original,
you
right?
don't already own New Super Mario Bros. U.
98? 96?
Since it is the year of
No, because
Luigi,
64 was 96.
we've
so was it
decided
98?
to release
I thought 64 was 97.
standalone
No,
version
'cause-
of New Super Luigi U
Was it?
that does
I know
not
Final Fantasy
require
VII
I might be
was
wrong.
97.
Super Mario Bros. U game.
Let's see when Ocarina of Time released. When did
Yeah, I
it
heard that the
release?
distance
This
between
will be
now and
available
3D
on-
is he came out, it
from
had
the
only been
Nintendo
12
eShop
years since Ocarina of Time.
Or purchase.
Yeah, but low-key Nintendo games have been the same for the past 13 years, so it doesn't even feel like
Here
that.
is a price for each version.
Excuse me, have you not played Game &
Since
Wario? That
the
is a very
contents
unique
are
When are
game.
they going to
Same.
remake Game &
You
Wario?
can
It's
make a
been 15
decision
years,
on
or it will
which
be
version
15
to
years.
get based on your internet connection status.
When is the...
and
Never mind.
whether
I was going to ask when
you
was like
already
the
own
soonest
New Super
somebody's
Mario
remade a
Bros.
game,
U.
but it's Last of Us. That happens like... They did
Now,
Last of Us 2
I have
remastered
another
like
game
3 years
for which
after.
we can share a launch date.
Oh?
It is the wonderful one.
Spider-Man had a pretty
From
quick
Platinum
remaster too.
which launches
Right,
on
because the
Yeah,
PS5
that
just
did
come
as
out.
well.
Yeah. Which is the
More
soonest
That also
Nintendo's
had the
game.
controversy of
will be
having like
released
not loser
gradually
Peter
between
Parker,
now and launch.
which I still think is
Please
kind of
stay
They
weird that
changed
they
his
changed
hair
the
and
design.
his face, I think.
I'm
It was his
excited to
entire
see
face.
They did.
Right.
Weird.
Finished
It's like,
Changed his head
product
is
from
Did not like it.
Kamiya
Soul
and
versus
Platinum Games.
Soulless.
Next, I'd
Oh?
like to discuss more on Pikmin 3
Pikmin
for
time?
Wii U,
Hello?
Are we
In
actually
this game,
discussing it, or is he saying he's
instead
going to
of
discuss
Olimar,
it eventually?
who was the main character in the previous Pikmin titles.
Is that a
There are
question?
3 new main
It was
characters.
Olimar.
Their names are Alf, Brittany, and the Captain Charlie.
Okay, so that's unchanged.
They are from planet Koppai, which is facing its doomsday due to a lack of food.
Pikmin Doomsday.
They set out on their adventure in search of food.
I
that
have been
can
seeing
be
a lot more
returned
clips of
to
people using the
Koppai.
capture cards to cast movies through
Due
Nintendo
to
Switch
an
Online.
accident while traveling,
Yeah, I saw that
they
with
crashed land
I
and
would like to do an
encountered
episode of this
mysterious
pod
creatures
via the
called
fucking Star
Pikmin.
Fox VTuber thing, but
With their help,
we need
the
Photoshop. a
3
lot more.
travelers start exploring.
Perhaps a later day.
Pikmin.
Their mission is
I really
to
hope that
collect
the
food
Legends remake
that
has
can be their new food
remote play.
resource while exploring the planet with the goal
I think
of
if nothing
bringing
happens
the
in October,
seeds
that we should consider
back to
just
their
doing a
home.
pod episode of just playing Rayman Legends.
As
as
the
a trio.
explorers found from their preliminary research,
Right.
there were various kinds of fruit there, but it was much larger than expected.
So this is Pikmin.
They decided to use the Pikmin's help
How long was
to
the-
carry the fruit.
'Cause I
back
know
to
Pikmin 4
spaceship.
was like a long development cycle. Is that they announced it for the Wii U and
After
then it came
extracting
out in the
the
middle of
seeds,
the era of the Switch.
fruit
But the
can
gap
be
between Pikmin 2
converted
and 3
to
was really
juice
large too. What was going
and
on there? Does
can
that have like
act as
a
food
history
for the
development?
player characters as they explore the planet.
I don't know,
Remember.
honestly.
If they don't have enough
Pikmin
food,
fans were chomping at the
they
bit.
can
I mean, to be
continue
fair,
their
early on in the Wii, or
exploration.
at least like a year or so in,
they
they
must
did
use the limited
Not
time.
is it
One of the
New
first
Motion
Arlo
Plus?
videos I ever watched was him like hating on 1-2 Pikmin or whatever, or Hey Pikmin or whatever it's
Life
called.
on the planet is dangerous.
Yeah, it was a rough
So,
era.
you
And,
can
know, we're
only
pretty deep
explore
in it with these
from
directs.
dawn
As
to
soon as
dusk.
Smash Bros goes away,
During this time,
well,
it is
I mean that
important
we have
to
like
use
2
the
years
different
between Smash
color
Bros and the
Pikmin
Switch.
skills.
Like 2015.
Nah, dude, dude, like post Smash Bros, you had Smash Bros characters, and that was a lot of fun for people.
Well, that,
like
I'm
you're
saying
probably
the final
Players
DLC
can
character was
divide
announced at like the end of
activities among the
2015.
different characters
So like,
and
or
explore
the beginning
separate
of 2015.
areas.
So like all of
with different
2016.
groups of
no, Bayonetta came out like
Product
February
progress
2016, I think.
is
Okay.
So
Yeah, that'll once we get to Smash. But
Once you
Smash
get the
character
hang of it,
releases happen like
you
more
can
sparingly than you
complete
would
tasks
think because
within a shorter time
they announced it.
it
a
wasn't
year
every
ahead of
direct.
time.
That's true.
Yeah.
Also, if you make mistakes while you play, you can replay the day or revert
Oh.
to an earlier section of
Actually,
the
I didn't
game.
know that.
The fun
I feel like
of
this is something that would
starting
upset
over
me if I
is
knew about
that
it after the
you
fact.
can tap
But now it's like
into
completely
what you
negligible.
learn from your last play session
Man, I gotta
to
finish
more
Pikmin 4.
efficiently complete
I've been trying to get through Tears of the Kingdom, which is a game I've never finished, using stream
in the
time.
first Pikmin game.
Because I was
the
okay
player
to be a
had
little
to start
laissez-faire about
over
Tears of the
again
Kingdom,
and
but
again
now that we're on
to
the
figure
precipice of
out
a new
the
3D
most
Zelda, I'm like,
efficient
oh, I should
way
actually probably
to
finish
complete the
original
exploration
one. So if
of
they
the
ever do a
planet
Pikmin 4
in
Switch
a
to edition,
limited
then I'll go
time.
back to it. Or if they announce a new Pikmin.
But in
oh shit,
this
he's here
game,
again.
there is no big limitation in terms of the days.
Okay.
So it is more accessible for those that have not played previous Pikmin games.
For those that suck.
At the same time, experienced players can enjoy the game deeply because the more you play,
Enjoy the game deeply.
you get better with the new Pikmin and new courses. And this is another one of your assets.
Holy shit, is that a Nintendo
providing
Switch?
The adventure.
It looks a lot
think
more
it is.
small
In Pikmin 3,
than I'm used to it looking.
The
Maybe I was
gamepad
just a child with it in
becomes
my hands.
a
But...
handy information terminal
Oh,
called
the cop pad.
cop
I'm not
pad.
trusting something
hell
called the
is
cop
The
pad.
cop pad.
As you can see,
Oh, it's in the
the
game.
area you
Is that what it's
have
called?
I did not make that
explored is
I think it
shown
is because
on
it's
the map.
they're the
You can
Kopie or
see
something.
where
Oh,
the
right.
Pikmin
I
and
played this
player
on
characters
Switch.
are located. Also, by scrolling the screen
Yeah, the
I
with
do
Kopie.
your
like how that
finger,
is just an image of
you
a
can
pants.
see the details of each area on the TV screen.
Almost as if they're dragging the
Additionally,
image itself.
if you scroll the map while selecting one of the player characters like
Mm-hmm.
this, you can move them to
I
a
like this
specific
aspect of it,
location
that there was a lot
automatically.
going on. I do think I prefer Pikmin 4.
With the cup pad.
Well, actually, I don't know.
You can view the
Obviously,
overall
I
I think
the
Pikmin
game
3
can
holds a
run
special
what
place in my
these
heart.
characters and
Yeah.
Just
Pikmin
because I
are
think it is
doing
such a great
on their
streamlined game,
assigned tasks.
and the bonus modes are a lot of fun. Although I think Pikmin 4 is a close second.
At the end of the day,
So this is
you
exactly a
can
month
see
after
the
the last
replay
direct. So
of the entire
let's see
day.
what happened. What released in
Fast
2013
forwarding
between
and
April
rewinding
and
replay
May
footage
of the
to
17th.
review a day
17th
and the
day.
number of remaining Pikmin.
Because I think
is
we're
a
done
part
with Wii
of your
games, or
strategy
at least Nintendo
to
made
get
Wii
ready
games.
for the next day.
So it'd be both 3DS and Wii U.
I'd like to
on
share
the
some
3DS
information on the game's control as well.
It's the game's controversy.
We are preparing a few types of game controls
Yeah, New
that
Leaf is
players
coming
can
in
choose
June.
from.
March.
Play control using the gamepad is similar to playing the previous Pikmin games on the GameCube.
So between April and May.
The game is also compatible
nothing. They
with
released
the
nothing
Wii U
in
Pro
North
controller.
America. But hey, we
If
got
you
Animal
have
Crossing
played
coming
Pikmin
up.
2 for Wii,
Let's see what they released for the
you
Wii U.
know that the Wii Remote and
April and
Nunchak
May
control scheme
2013.
makes it easy and intuitive
Anything?
to decide where you
no.
want to use Pikmin.
As of
Wii
okay,
Remote Plus,
as of where we are
these
right now in this
controls have
direct,
become
there
more
are
comfortable.
4
We
Wii
are
U
mainly
games
focusing
developed
on
by
this control
Nintendo
scheme today.
or distributed.
Also, you
licenses
can
owned or
enjoy the
co-owned
full
by
game
Nintendo.
without
There's
a
4
TV
exclusive Wii
by
U
just
games
using
made
the
by them.
gamepad.
New Super Mario Bros.
You
U,
can also play the
Nintendo
game
Land,
with
Sing
Wii
Party,
Remote
and
and
Lego
Nunchak
City Undercover.
using the gamepad as
Because
a
Game &
monitor.
Wire doesn't come out until June.
With the help
That's probably why they've been
of
showing so much
Pikmin
of Lego
and
City
the Cuphead,
Undercover.
Can
Yeah,
help
basically.
Brittany
Also, like now
and
that I'm
Charlie
thinking about it,
save
I
their
remember
home
New
planet
Super Luigi U
Koppai.
being like an after-the-fact thing. They announced
Today,
that like
I shared
a
updates
couple
on the
months
game's
after New Super
story
Mario
mode.
Bros. U's release.
But another time, we will be
It
able
was
to
like
share
a spiritually
more
like an
on
early
challenges
DLC.
yeah,
and
well, it
the
is
game's
DLC,
multiplayer
but
modes.
I just remember.
Oh,
Being
really?
like,
Three
yeah,
I
it's
misremembered. I must have
launching
misremembered it being like a
on
separate
August
game that
4th.
was just really cheap, like
Well,
20
you
bucks
can
or
buy it
something.
as a
Thank you for
separate
watching.
game, but you could download
That
it
is
for
all
20.
that I
I don't-
have to share
That's a good
today.
point, though. I wonder if you.
See
yeah,
you
if you download
around
it for
that
20, you
time
probably
of
need the
E3.
original. Is that the
Oh,
direct?
bye, Awada. Bye. Bye. Have fun.
Oh shit!
Hi, everyone.
Holy shit!
Reggie.
That
I
scared
know
me.
many of you are starting to get excited.
Come on,
for
Richie, give us
E3,
Mother
and
3.
we're right there with you. While in previous years, we've introduced new hardware like Nintendo 3DS and Wii U, this year, it's all about the games. In the past, we've focused the
I
E3
don't know how true
hands-on
that is.
experience on
I guess they
those
don't
attending
have a
the
new
event.
console coming out now.
But this
and they
year,
won't until
we're making E3
2017.
for the people. And we want to make sure that you get the chance to try our games as well. We've partnered with Best Buy to make
Wow.
it possible for consumers in the United States and Canada to experience select unreleased Wii U games.
Right, I remember
at more
that
than 100
in the
retail
Ultimate
locations
times that like
during the Wii
I didn't get to play
We'll
Ultimate
be able to share
until it
more
came
details
out
on what
in,
games will
December
be featured
2018, but I remember
and
people
where
going to
you'll
Best
be
Buy
able
to
to
play
play
the
them
demo
in
and
the
like
coming
recording it
weeks.
with their handy cams.
But we can say now that we're
if they ever do a
excited
new Smash,
to be
I'm
able to
definitely I don't
give
care
you this
I don't care how
exclusive
long it
glimpse
takes me to find
into
one. I'm
the
going to the
future
closest one.
of Wii U.
Yep.
As you've seen through Nintendo Direct this year,
Is this gonna
there's
end
a lot of
abruptly? 'Cause
great
we got
content
seconds
coming
left.
soon for Wii U, and there's
I don't know,
more to
I-
share as we head toward E3.
It might.
Thank you for watching
got a
today,
glint in his
and
eye.
we'll see you next time.
He does. He looks very teary-eyed all the time.
All right, we're
He's a
seconds
sensitive
away.
gentleman.
We're seconds away from the 3-hour mark. I have been your co-parent BHultra,
I've been your co-parent, Switchy.
And I've been your Funkle Dan.
and we'll be back here next week to talk about Star Fox. I'm hanging up. Who you gonna call when there's pizza there? Who you gonna call when there's an animatronic bear? I'm hungry. I will be live again tomorrow for Total Tomodachi and then Delta Room. I gotta preserve my voice until